Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox have followed up 6 straight losses with 6 wins in their last 8 games. Yesterday, they completed a 3-game sweep of the Washington Nationals 6-4 in D.C. Garrett Crochet went 5 innings for the win, and Trevor Story and Ceddanne Rafaela added homers to power the offense. Red Sox are a game over 500 now. They're back home to play last-place Colorado tonight. In other Sox news, they had 3 players elected to the American League All-Star team yesterday. Garrett Crochet was one of them.
Yeah, it's huge. Wonger and Narvi have been huge for just continuing to develop as a starter throughout the season. The conversations that I have with Bailey and Holt between starts have been great. Just as a whole, I feel like since I've been a Red Sox, I've done nothing but improve, and that's to a credit of the 4 guys I just named.
Aroldis Chapman will come out of the bullpen for the AL, and despite missing the last 6 weeks, Alex Bregman has made the American League Reserve as a third baseman. Getting back to the Nationals, following yesterday's loss to the Red Sox, they fired both manager Dave Martinez and GM Mike Rizzo. The NBA announced a 7-team trade yesterday. Included were Kevin Durant and Clint Capella to Houston and Jalen Green to Phoenix. In all, 6 players, a first-round draft pick, and 12 second-rounders were moved in the deal. And Dallas Cowboys All-Pro kick returner Cavante Turpin arrested yesterday and charged with marijuana possession and unlawful carrying of a weapon. They're both misdemeanors. He is free on a $1,500 bond. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Catches Law. At Catches, they specialize in helping those who have been injured not only from a one-time incident, but from a lifetime of hard work and labor. Does this sound like you? Visit CatchesLaw.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher.
When has that been necessary to fact check?
And Hardy.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
On 98.5.
Hey there.
Sarge GPT booting up.
Let me hear you say, "Boo! Boo! Boo!"
Crush me, mommy.
Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the Pope.
I'm a goddamn drag.
Yeah, good luck, dude. Nothing like a good tushy.
Uh-huh.
I love you, and I think you know that.
Excuse me?
Toucher. And Hardy.
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fans and having some fun.
On 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy. Town Fair Tires Studios, 617-779-0985. You can watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. It's an exciting time as we are all back. Hardy, John, and I were all gone last week. All doing very exciting things. Hardy called a ultimate Frisbee game for the internet. I take it was not on regular television. That's just a guess.
I think it was on Sky Sports.
Oh, there you go.
International.
Yeah, it was like an international feed.
Nice.
Going mostly to Europe.
I get it. And John went to his in-laws' house, so that's very exciting. And I was in Hoover, Alabama for the majority of the time. 6 days in Hoover, Alabama.
Whoa.
Right outside of, supposedly right outside of Birmingham.
But
Not-
in reality, where is it?
It's like in some weird mountain thing, and it's the most nondescript place on the planet. There's nothing. It's where we stayed. The hotel was fine, and it was on some Robert Trent Jones golf course. It was part of this trail situation.
Oh yeah, the golf trail.
Yeah, the golf trail. I don't know anything about the golf course, but they had a couple pools. They weren't big, but whatever. And it was a nice hotel, especially for something like that. But then it was Target. And he's frantic. I can hear him frantically Googling the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Hoover,
He's not
Alabama.
paying attention. You've lost him.
Yeah, to see what at Ross Bridge.
Yeah, Ross Bridge. That's where I was.
What's a golf trail? I have no idea what that is.
Don't get him going. It's
right.
something boring.
Fair enough.
And so, but it's,
You shush for the next 40 minutes and let me answer John's question. It's literally like a tour of golf courses that are all Robert Trent Jones ones.
And in every hotel room, there's a book about how important the trail has been to the United States.
Oh, okay.
It's like Underground Railroad level of importance.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. And so, I went to Target a couple times. Everything is all the same. Everywhere you go, everything's all the same.
This is what I said like years ago, like when people found out that Marcy was from Nebraska. And it's like, oh, what's that like? I said, once you get outside of a major metropolitan area, Chicago, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, places like that, once you get more than, and I truly mean this, 30, 40 minutes outside, every place is the same. You've got Targets, you've got Applebee's, you've got movie theaters. It's just the same. Yeah. So unless you're living downtown or you have access to major sports teams and museums and you're taking those things in on a regular basis, there's not much difference between living in Natick, Massachusetts or Hoover, Alabama. Other than the close access to one of those major cities, your day-to-day life is not all that different. And I say that about Omaha. I say that about Albuquerque. I say it about a lot of places.
Right, unless you were interested in some scene or something that was, going on in the city. Right. So there, for 90% of people, it doesn't really matter. You're just going to the same places. Yeah. And so, and then, it rained every day. There was a 3-hour rain delay for one game. I was there for my son's baseball, and there was like a 3-hour rain delay. There was just, it was the parents were nice and everything. The kids were nice to my son, and the games were fine. They played 4 games, and I was there for 6 nights, and there you go. I'll tell you this, though, is that coming back, I, of course, am diamond medallion status on Delta.
I saw the picture.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure. And they bumped me and Milo to first class from
Nice.
Atlanta to Boston.
Look at you.
Which is not an easy flight to get bumped up on.
Woo.
Because it's a
That's a
hub.
busy flight.
They're Delta hub. It's a full flight.
First row, baby, from what I saw.
Well, that's not the best row in first class, but that will. But you can take what you can get.
Shows what John knows about first class.
Yeah, way to go, John. There's no.
You got in the front row. You get to stare at a wall.
There's no storage area. You got to put your bag up. You got to put your backpack
My bad,
up.
guys. My bad.
Well, it shows a lack of class.
Sure.
And so I screenshot it for numerous reasons. A, to look good to girls, like a man of importance,
right.
which is in all seriousness why I did it, 100%. And then so I had to think of something to make it like a little deprecating, like when girls put hot pictures of themselves up and they just like there's a scene from I Think You Should Leave where the girls are sitting around and they're trying to write insulting captions to like the cute photo that they took. So I put it up there, and then I get frantic emails saying, "Oh no, you put your the whatever code it is,
QR.
No, like your itinerary number or whatever the hell it is, up on there." And I was already on the plane when I did it. And so I started panicking, and I'm like, "What is this like?" Because someone said, "Why don't you just put the front of your credit card and back of your credit card on the internet?" And I'm like, "Well, what happens? Why am I in so much trouble? What goes on?" And then it turns out that if you're not on the plane, people can like cancel your reservation.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
your confirmation number. All it was my confirmation number.
So I thought that was uncharacteristically proactive of you to scribble out that barcode, and I figure someone must have gotten to you, and told you to not do that, because I wouldn't think about doing that either.
Well, I was on the plane already, so I didn't think they were going to kick me off the plane to say you canceled your ticket. Well, I was already sitting there, upgraded,
Yeah. post upgrade.
Post upgrade, because what the good thing about being, and this is all seriousness, the good thing about being Diamond Medallion is that you book yourself in main cabin for that price, and they always bump you to Comfort Plus. And if you're by yourself, they always bump you to first class, almost always. Oof. But the thing is that when you are with your kids have to have a Sky Miles number, and they'll bump us up to there's been one time where we weren't bumped up to Comfort Plus. It's almost just like they just do it. They do it, and they do it like a week before the flight. They just get it out of the way. But this was very special because they decided that my son, who's of no status at all, really just garbage in terms of Delta, that they took us and put us in first class together. He was riding shotgun with a real star, and there you go. But apparently that number gives you that series of letters and numbers gives you access into the kingdom, which I was completely unaware of. It gives you the keys to the kingdom.
Okay. Do you have the Delta visa? Is that how you attained your diamond status? And if you don't want to talk about it, I don't blame you.
I don't care. I have there's a
don't feel pressured to tell me how you got there.
Well, Visa ain't gonna get you there. Visa ain't gonna get you there.
Okay.
Oh.
You're gonna have to go to American Express, and it's the purple Delta American Express, and they advertise it all over the airport. So good luck. You have to have well over an 800 credit rating. So good luck with that, peons.
That's it, huh?
No, I think, but you just got to spend a lot of money. That's all.
You gotta get everyone on board in the family. Everyone use this card. Everyone use this account. We're gonna charge everything on this one. And you get your diamond status.
Yeah, mile because it goes $quarter. It's like it's on how much money you spent.
Yeah.
And so it's not miles anymore. It used to be miles, and now it's money spent.
Nice.
So you get yourself the diamond status. Now you got to fly Delta. You can't be screwing around going on other airlines, even if you have to connect.
So this is the one thing that worries me, because the Delta being the preferred carrier, which a lot of people feel that way these days, is not an always thing.
Look at Dundero on TV looking all natural.
Fred is watching a closed circuit replay of the Felger and Mash show.
Yeah, he's authentically angry, is what you.
I was ready to crush the Red Sox.
It's the hand motions. Look at the hand motions.
He came in like he was like a tiger, and they were teasing him outside the cage with a big red meat.
Came in hot. Look at him.
Unless you're reacting to something that just happened, I don't buy the anger.
Especially when Felger's in another state. I'm looking at the 3-shot there. Felger's got trees behind him.
He's in Nantucket.
Oh.
Maybe I'm ill-advised.
But like my mom got the JetBlue card years ago. I'm like, oh, that's good for you. JetBlue is the way to go. But that's not necessarily the way to go anymore. You give me the choice between the two, and the Delta just seems to be going more to where I want to go, and the flights have been great. So how long do you think this Delta Platinum status will serve you before someone else takes over as maybe the preferred carrier, Fred?
Well, Boston is a hub of Delta, pretty much. Detroit's a hub of Delta. Atlanta's a hub of Delta, and the big hub of Delta. So,
and those are the places you mostly want to go.
Right, and then I transfer through Atlanta to get to Knoxville and stuff. There's no direct flight from Boston anyway, and there was no direct flight to Birmingham, Alabama, that I know of on any other airline. I don't know of anyone else that took one. So and by Delta, even if I have a connection, if I miss, like on the way there, my flight was delayed and we missed our connection. So I know that's happening, so I can call them, and you get that direct line to them, and they'll give you priority and put you on another flight. Like they always, for some reason, even if the flight says it's full. Now there are flights that are full, but that's like half of them. A lot of them are I don't know why they keep seats open, or if people cancel at the last minute, but they'll get you on a flight. But we didn't get in till like 1:00 in the morning. Got to the hotel on the way there. And we got off the plane, and our rental car place was closed because they closed at 11. And so I had and the guy at the Hertz counter said, "Oh, man, I'm almost done. I can't wait to get the F out of here." And I went, "Oh, boy." And so I very quickly had to dance and get myself a car, and then there was nothing he could say about it. And he just threw some keys at me, and it was a garbage pickup truck. So I had to drive around a big, long pickup truck like Hardy all week.
Long bed, short bed, crew cab,
It wasn't a crew cab.
F-150. What are you driving?
No, it wasn't an F-150. It was some foreign thing.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I didn't feel very
In a
American.
Suzu.
So people would drive by and they would flick their lights.
Yeah.
My dad came down for a few days, thank God.
Yeah.
And the people would drive by and they would flick their lights.
Yeah. You knew what it meant.
No, I had no idea what it meant. And
You know what it means, John?
It's the way these people say hello to you
No.
as they go by?
No.
I have no idea what
No.
it means.
There's a cop sitting up there. There's a Kojak with a Kodak sitting with his ass in the grass.
Oh, because my father said it's because it looks like rain over in yonder.
No.
Yeah. He's got something to say about everything. And it's pretty funny because my son played a team, and then that team was supposed to be the best, and they beat him, and that was supposed to be the best team they played. It was like a Phillies affiliated team, and that was supposed to be the best team that they played. And my father had it in his head that the team that my son was pitching against the next day was the best team.
Oh.
And when we said, no, that's not what anyone said, he would not let it go. He said, that is what you said. And then the argument, when he was told by both of us that's not what he said, turned to, well, that's not what he was asking. That he was merely asking.
Oh, boy.
Like,
Gotcha.
And I say to him, I'm like, Dad,
It's your mistake.
I'm like, Dad, this could always just stop. All of this could just stop. Like it does. This could just end. This is what I said to him. I said, this could end at this second. It could just end, and then no one would be.
But then what do you do?
Yeah, and like
Just
no
stare
one
at each
5
other,
years from now is going to be going, boy, oh boy, were we wrong about that? Saying that team we played today was worse than the team we played.
As if
the next
somehow
day.
the truth will be revealed years from now.
Yeah, like it's just, you can stop. And I said to him also, I'm like, you don't have to, like, we'll be driving and I'll be using Google Maps. And he doesn't know where we are. We're in Hoover, Alabama. He's never been there in his life. And he'll start, like, there's 100 fields. It's so annoying, and it all looks the same. There's the Hoover High School, and then there's the Hoover Sports Complex. They, 5 billion donors on this board. They're corporate donors. Their JV field's better than any high school field in Massachusetts. I would put all my money on it. Their JV field is like immaculate. The varsity field, of course, is turf. The JV field has the disadvantage of being grass. But they and he would sit there like weighing in on where to go. And so I got my son, who's 17 and just turned 17 and drives and is like, wants to get there, and I got to deal with him. I'm dealing with what the map says and then what reality is. And then I'm dealing with an 83-year-old man just contributing from the side. And so I just finally said to him, I said, you don't have to say anything.
The consistent contrarian view is always just coming in every
like
3 or 4 minutes.
Like, how about you stop? I don't need a third voice.
What did he say to that? I need to know the answer to this. When you say, you could just stop talking.
He farted. He had an angry fart. He's like a dog. When they get excited, he farts. And then I said he farted because it smelled really bad. It was just me and him in the car. I'm like, you farted. He's like, no, I didn't. And I said, well, you farted. There's a fart in the car. And he's like, I know when I fart. I said, well, obviously you don't. That was an argument.
Oh, man.
It's not great.
What day of the vacation was this? What day of the week was that?
There was no blow up. These are just little things that happened. And when I'm with him, and it's just because we had a lot of opportunity, because I barely saw Milo there. It was because he was with his team. Like, if it was just me and him, and during the games, I enjoyed his company. Like, I was glad he was there during the games, because he's knows baseball, and he is interesting to be next to. And the coaches, not Milo's coach, but say a coach on the other team makes a mistake, he sees it. It's kind of interesting. But and then when we had dinner together or breakfast together, we had dinner one time together. We had dinner with the parents the other nights, but dinner one time together, and then we had breakfast one time together, and it was fine. It's fine when it's just him and I. It's when it almost becomes like a competition with him if there's other people around, of like, I'm the smartest guy in this space.
It's concerning when the passing of gas happens without his knowledge or consent, though. That's a dangerous tipping point.
Who's the oldest man in your life that you're around at all? But you have to be around them like at least like once a month.
Ooh.
Because I can answer that question. Do you know who the oldest man you're around at least once a month?
Roger?
Okay, so that doesn't count. I used to have a guy that cut my hair. It might have been 90.
Okay.
Brazilian guy. He worked at this place. It was like in my neighborhood, my old neighborhood, like in between houses. It was this place.
Yeah.
He would rip farts while he was walking around, and he didn't know he farted. You get loose in the caboose when you get older. Like, you don't know you're farting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like everything's so worn out. It's 84 years of taking dumps, 90 years of taking dumps, or whatever the hell else you got going on. Everything is very loose back there. And he was walking around. He used to walk around to the point where I used to have I used to take my kids with me to watch me get my hair cut because I knew the guy would fart. And he loved the Family Feud, and he loved farting. And then, Lord help you if the news came on while he was cutting your hair.
Oh, because he just stopped mid-snip.
Well, he had some things to say about the news.
Yeah.
And about, like, random local news. But there you go. I went to the Newton fireworks, so I heard all about Mayor Ann Fuller, or whatever the hell her name is.
Oh, boy.
I didn't even know who the mayor of Newton was.
You had a mayor.
But they painted over apparently they painted over the Italian lines on the street.
Ooh.
In Newtonville, like you know how in those Italian neighborhoods they had the Italian flag like lines as the street.
Yeah.
And in the dead of night, people, because they had their windows open because no air conditioning, they heard workers painted over with regular traffic lines, and woo-wee. Controversy.
Yes.
Controversy.
Goodness.
Well, listen, at least you don't have to live through that. I mean, it was like the trial of that broad that they accused of killing the police officer of controversy. Apparently, she's famous in town now. The lady accused of killing the police officer, Karen Reed. She apparently, like now, is like bopping around town, famous.
Oh, in Newton?
No, in like the Seaport.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Like she's got like when she comes in, there's like this. She's become like a celebrity, like a major celebrity in town. She's enjoying the spoils of celebrity. That will last forever, too. All right. And good for you for hopping on that bandwagon. It speaks so highly of you as individuals. Just, you're famous. Friends. Want to make friends with the famous person. All right. We'll be back in just a moment.
More.
We are Toucher and Hardy. What happened last night is brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened, so change your lettuce and change your life. With Dr. Matthew Lepresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR.
Just play a little catch-up here, as we were all gone last week, and the Red Sox were finishing off a homestand against Cincinnati. And Dan Roach, by the way, who I played golf with last week, was very excited. He got a chance to see his friend Terry Francona last Monday, and told the story about showing up, and there's some PR guy for the Reds who said, like, oh, you missed it. You're here with a camera. You're supposed to be here at a certain time. And Dan's like, well, it's 1:45 and 1:30, but whatever. And he's like, no, you can't come in.
Right.
Things are closed off now. And he said, through the open door, Francona sees me. He's like, Roachy, you son of a bitch, get in here. And the PR guy's like, oh, I didn't know that you two were friends now, and you just go ahead and do whatever you want. So that was.
Imagine if he wouldn't have seen him, if Francona wouldn't have happened to see him. I mean, you would have had a big incident.
That's
Roach wouldn't have taken that. Yeah, he wouldn't have taken that laying down. Who the hell are you? A National League team coming into my ballpark, telling me I can't get in there and see Skip? F you.
But the Sox end up taking 2 of 3 from the Reds, and then they visit the Washington Nationals over July 4th weekend. And last night, or yesterday, the Red Sox got things going early.
A swing and a high drive into left field. That's deep. That is way, way back. She is gone. Man, is he cooking.
Gone, girl.
A 2-run shot. Red Sox with a
Jeffrey
lead.
Dahmer's cooking up brains.
Gone girl. Ben Affleck, they think you killed your wife, but maybe it's just a big ruse, and she's trying to set you up. Careful there now, fella.
I forgot the plot of the movie.
It's very confusing. It's David Fincher, and you got to really, really have your thinking cap on when you're going to watch this one. It wasn't just Trevor's story, though.
Swinging a shot out to left field. He drilled that one. Woods backing up. It sails. It's gone. It is gone. Sadon with a wicked line drive. His third hit today. Red Sox with an added cushion. It is 6-3.
Oh, John likes
that was
that.
a bullet.
Added cushion.
Would you call it a smothering lead that they took at that point? Up 6-3?
You would think so, but did you see who pitched the ninth there yesterday, Fred?
No.
You see who pitched the ninth inning?
No.
Your buddy, Jordan Hicks, came in to pitch the ninth.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, he threw super hard, I bet.
So not a smothering lead.
Well, all right. Who was pitching earlier, though? That's the important part.
Leading to majors in strikeouts. And another one for him. As he strikes out low, 150 for him on the season.
Garrett Crochet recording his 150th strikeout of the season. In terms of milestones, 150 Ks, is that a thing?
Not until yesterday.
Okay.
I saw nothing but press releases about how awesome that was. Oh, fantastic. Oh, 150. Because that usually leads to majors every year, 150.
Whoa.
20 games? Yeah, I get that. What are we doing now?
I used to think it was 300, but apparently not. Getting halfway there's enough.
Well, what did Kershaw just get for his career?
3,000.
Yeah, so, he's piecing it together.
150. Very important, 150.
Garrett Crochet
He's piecing, one brick by brick.
Yeah.
Garrett Crochet talking about his success and his honors, and how'd you do it, champ?
Yeah, it's huge. Wonger and Narvi have been huge for just continuing to develop as a starter throughout the season. The conversations that I have with Bailey and Holt between starts have been great. Just as a whole, I feel like since I've been a Red Sox, I've done nothing but improve, and that's to a credit of the 4 guys I just named.
I think and it's Red Sox. I think since I've been a Red Sox.
Yeah.
Isn't that a sticking point with you baseball people, John?
Not with me, but I have multiple friends that will say it's Red Sox.
Yeah, even
Not
in the
Sox.
in the singular. Yeah, you're supposed to say you're a Red Sox.
Yeah. I think that's correct. I don't get that either. I don't get that at all. Yeah.
Well, they end up getting the win and completing the sweep of the Nationals yesterday. What do they have on tap? Another tough opponent coming up?
No, that would not be the case.
Oh,
the 21-win Colorado Rockies come to Fenway Park tonight.
we also had some fallout, not necessarily from that series, but the Washington Nationals have fired both Mike Rizzo and Dave Martinez, their general manager and, their president of baseball operations, Mike Rizzo, and manager Dave Martinez, both gone just a week ahead of the draft, where they have the number 1 overall pick.
Yes, they do.
It's always a good idea to get rid of your head, right, like Jet style. Well, the Jets waited until after the draft, and they got rid of Idzik. They got rid of him after the draft. They let him draft the team, and then was it McCagnon? One of those two. They let him draft the team, and then they said, see you later, about 2 weeks later.
So I have not been following the drama of Nationals baseball this season, but apparently more than once Dave Martinez has had the audacity to say that the players also need to take responsibility for the lack of success on the field, and that did not sit well in the clubhouse. And
Wait a minute. I'm responsible for some of this?
To which I read into maybe he lost the clubhouse when he dared to say that the players need to play better and take responsibility for when they play poorly.
But why would you even say that? Like, why wouldn't you just say you're there to protect the players? I mean, just put everything on yourself publicly.
In that job specifically, in sports, I would agree with you, Fred.
Yeah, just put it on yourself.
The baseball manager just needs to own it.
Yeah, because it's every day.
If you want to keep your job, whether it's true or not, if you just want to keep managing, then you just take it all on yourself.
Well, that's kind of the job. The job is to put it all on yourself and deflect from the players. So I just think that's a stupid thing to do. To go now, if you wanted to challenge like a kid on the team and say, like, he needs to get going here, and you think that that's a motivational tactic, but to blanket the team as a whole, as they got to take responsibility, I don't know if that's the best idea.
What did Jeff Passan have to say about this?
The Washington Nationals have fired general manager Mike Rizzo as well as manager Davey Martinez. The Nationals have the number 1 overall draft pick a week from today, and it's not often you see both a general manager and a manager get fired in season, but particularly in front of such an important draft where the number 1 pick is not by any means clear at this point.
It is not often you hear someone elongating the vowel A when they're talking about a story, and it is almost as if he is been put in a position where he did not know what he was going to say about a certain thing.
Well, that's the problem about having the in-home studio that they can go to at any point, is that they don't have someone on site that's like, in the building. And by the way, Bristol, Connecticut, very far from everything. When we went out to that Travelers Championship, Bristol was even further than that.
Oh, way out. I don't think we were anywhere close to it.
Well, on the map, it had Bristol. Like, I think we were within like 20 miles of Bristol.
Okay.
And so 20 miles west of us was Bristol.
Sounds right.
So, boy, that's really in the middle of nowhere. So for people who commute from New York City, that's no joke. It's like a 3-hour commute, 2.5-hour commute.
No, it's not good.
So they got to. That's the problem, though, is that they can call Jeff Passan and they can go, news just broke. You get to your house, you got 15 minutes to get onto the TV. It's like you're a doctor or something, an emergency room doctor. They just paid you. And then you got to get on, and he probably doesn't know what the hell's going on with Washington. And he's got to fill up that segment. So I don't blame him for drawing things out. That's got to be a bad job, like the Schefter Passan job. That your job is really just to break news. And Passan's a writer, too. Like, Passan writes books. Like, Schefter's not a writer. Schefter's just a guy who tweets. He's very good at, gleaning information and putting it up before anyone else, which is a valuable commodity, especially in football.
Yeah, that life in general sucks.
Well, that Wojnarowski or whatever the hell, he quit.
Yep.
He quit it. He didn't like it anymore. And I could see that just sucking. Because you have to be available whenever news breaks. And not only that, you have to know it's coming, and you have to be able to speak on it. So I would much rather be a sports writer who's just putting together stories, and you got a couple weeks, and you ingrain yourself with the team, and you find an interesting angle and go after it, than be just a guy who has to just talk about to sources and GMs and then get on and babble about something that's a fact.
Yeah, it's not just the calls you get either. It's the dozens of calls you have to make at all times. Christmas Day, there's no time with your family.
Or like that 6-team trade for Kevin Durant that doesn't make any sense. Like, finding out through 6 people, like the 6 parties involved, how that goes down. I mean, some of those teams, I don't even know what they did. They did stuff like in different languages. A second-round pick and a flippity-flop of the floop and then everything else.
Yeah, they just decided to put all those random trades we saw together for salary cap purposes.
It's the NBA is something weird. Yeah, like you can trade stuff that's not even picks or players. It's just stuff. Cash considerations, and then you can also trade non-flops. Like this one won't be a flop. It's pretty, if you read the trade it's pretty interesting.
Sure.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
All right. And the rosters for the All-Star game. 19 first-timers from the Red Sox, Garrett Crochet, Aroldis Chapman, and Alex Bregman.
Bregman made it?
Bregman made it. Huh. He was the runner-up to Jose Ramirez in the third-base balloting, even though he hasn't played in 6 weeks. So I kind of think the hand was forced there. There are a lot of third basemen in the American League that had good seasons, besides Bregman.
Yeah, Bregman's been hurt a long time. All right, so we'll be back in just a moment.
Sports Hub headlines presented by
rise and shine. Yet another day to toss away. What does my clock display? It says 8. This I'm late for work again, so.
All right, we are Toucher and Hardy. Hardy, what else is going on?
So last week we learned that Kevin Durant would be headed to the Houston Rockets, and now that the deal has been finalized, I don't even want to try and investigate all the machinations of a 7-team trade. 7 teams involved in this, with draft picks going back and forth, and it involves the Hawks, the Nets, the Golden State Warriors, the Lakers, the Timberwolves, the Phoenix Suns. 6 players are involved in the 7-team trade. Kevin Durant, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Clint Capella, David Roddy, and Daquan Plowden. Did I get that one right?
I think you might have.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a first-round draft pick. What does it all mean? Durant is finally home for good.
The goal right now for Kevin Durant and the Rockets is for him to retire in Houston. They're going to eventually this offseason discuss a contract extension, figure out where that lands. But the Rockets really excited Kevin Durant. It's a perfect fit in a lot of ways. We know he's a number one. He can be the number one option on any given night. The Rockets made this move. It's a win now trajectory type of move.
Oh, well, again, these are all breakthrough statements from Sham Charania.
Really? You don't say.
Yeah, so you're saying they're going all in with this trade, and that he plans to, at his age, retire as a
and they
Houston
want
Rocket.
to extend him.
These are all very good points that you would not have thought just on looking at this thing at first glance. But I wonder how much this trade benefits like anyone but the primary teams. That why the 7 teams are all necessary. And if you get the call, how much research into it do you do before you agree?
There are 12 second-round picks, 1 first-rounder, and 6 players. The only thing I could think of, Fred, and there are people far smarter than me that have told me this, it's somehow getting all these teams cap compliant so they don't have to pay second apron penalties or first apron penalties or dropping them below a certain mark. That's the only reason they would be involved in this trade.
No, I know that there would be like little machinations to work the cap, but it can't be that valuable to most of these teams. Like even the relief they're getting can't be that intense. It just is weird to have that many teams, that percentage of the league cooperating with each other to get a star move to another team, I guess is the way that I'd put it. In a competitive league, having 7 teams all agree to help it make it easier for Kevin Durant to get to Houston is a little odd.
And if you think that maybe the NBA was getting a little too friendly before, as we've been seeing this for years and years now, with the not just the secret meetings at All-Star games or at Olympic competitions. Durant said after this deal is finalized, he feels like the NBA is one big community.
Oh, good for him. Well, enough teams have given you a chance. Makes sense.
So if Houston wins the championship, does every other team just go like, great, I'm glad we were a part of that?
Yes, because they're all one big community.
Right. It just, again, when you get, I understand 2 or 3 teams for the benefit of each other all getting together and, agreeing to some big trade that benefits all of them. And usually it's 2 teams that are dealing a bunch of pieces and another team that gets them under the cap.
Right. But
like absorbs the contract for the picks.
The 3-team deal is like, okay, I can see where if you're a GM of that 3rd team, someone's going to get better. If there's a way I can get anything out of this, that's fine.
Right. Like if you need me in order to make this work, like you're going to just I'm going to take something of yours that you don't want to make this deal happen, and you're going to have to give me some stuff in return. I think the league, and I'm not to be overwrought about it because it's not that big a deal, but if I'm the league, maybe I'm looking into cutting it down, how many teams can be involved in a trade. Because it does look stupid. How many teams are in the league?
It's almost 25% of the teams are involved in this.
So it's like, 25% of the league is all conspiring, because they are conspiring. So that's the right term. They conspired to get Kevin Durant to Houston, and that's not great when a quarter of the league is all working together to get a major piece moved. So I would call into question that whole operation. Maybe you limit the amount of people that can be involved in a trade to 3 teams.
I will say this, it is dangerous. This is obviously a record. It's never been done before, but this could set a very dangerous precedent. I agree with you there. I mean, this is something the NBA needs to look at because it is possible now. Oh, you did this? Well, let's see what we can work with these 5 or 6 teams.
Yeah, and I'm with you, Fred. I'm not going to get like all bothered by it. It's just kind of gross where it's like, well, you know, the Rockets want Durant, and we want the Rockets to have Durant, and we just want, you know, what's good for everybody. We don't hate the Rockets. What? You know, we're all part of this one big community. Let's all get together and figure out a way so they can get this player that they want.
Yeah, and the thing is that you know what a boys club the ownership groups are, and you know, as more and more, as long as we do this, you realize that they're just all in the business of doing good business, that it's not even that competitive on the field or on the court. So that would concern me. Yeah. By the way, the Savannah Bananas in town this weekend, it was on ESPN as well, I'm told. And I got to tell you, if you are seeing the Savannah Bananas, it is like a Midwestern gay camp situation. Like it's a like a kind of like lowbrow camp performance.
But Brock Holt hit Fred. Doug Flutie pitched.
It's a very well. That's all well and good, and that kind of doesn't fit the narrative. But what they do is they wear like neon shirts. They like tie them off. Some of them like Daisy Duke, and then they sing like Gloria Gaynor into their bats and stuff. It's like extraordinarily gay. And not like in a kind of subversive Harvey, Firestein play type of way. It's just like a very
like a more wholesome drag show. A lot, you know, some double entendre going on.
Yes, exactly. It's like a Midwestern camp performance. Like, and it's funny that you see all these people there, and you say, you know, what you're watching is essentially like really, really dumb gay theater.
Scruff.
Because without even talking to him, when I went with Milo a couple years ago, I went to Milo. What did you think? He said, "Did you think that was like pretty gay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that was like it seemed like gay. It seemed, you know, men for women, like a bachelorette party or camp theater. Take your pick."
Okay.
By the way, with Cooper Flag going to Dallas and all the talk about how they're going to be next year, and it's like, hey, he's going to join up with Kyrie Irving. Oh, that's right. He had the Achilles, but that was earlier in the season. That was, that happened before Jason Tatum popped his.
Yeah.
So
Kyrie, it was March 30 towards ACL.
Right. So you're thinking, hey, maybe Kyrie is back before the end of the year.
Will you be back by playoffs? Don't hold your breath on that. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
it doesn't mean that I won't be back. It's just I don't want to make any predictions on when I'm going to be back. I just want to be back 150,000% better.
Why is that bad, John? You are so unfair to Kyrie Irving. Why is that bad? What he just said, you explain. He does this all the time.
All you have to say,
and rolls his eyes at the most like innocuous statement.
All you have to say is, I'm going to work hard to get back. I'd love to play with Cooper Flag. 150,000%? Really? Okay, good. I'd love to see what that is.
You have found a way to get annoyed with something that he said that was the most non-offensive thing in the history of
playoffs.
Sports.
Don't hold your breath on that.
That doesn't sound bad at all. You're right.
Well, how does that sound bad, John? He doesn't think he'll be back for the playoffs. He doesn't want to set expectations at that.
A full year after tearing your – it's not even a year. It's like 15 months after tearing your ACL.
He doesn't want to set the expectation. He doesn't want to rush the injury. You think he's doing that because he's lazy?
I'm just amazed that you're the biggest Kyrie defender of all time. Why is that?
Because
why
he says
are you on
things,
this guy's side so much?
Because he says things that aren't bad, and you flip out. That's why. Because you're so tainted with Kyrie Irving. He made you so angry so many years ago.
He wasn't a good guy. For three different teams, he wasn't a good guy.
That's all. But that
Dallas is his last stop, and all of a sudden he is found a way to good.
No,
how am I gaslighting? How am I gaslighting?
I don't have the baggage that John has on this one, but in this particular case, I'm on his side. All you have to do is say, I'm going to work as hard as I can to be back as soon as I can, not don't hold your breath about the playoffs. There's a real good chance you don't see me anywhere near a basketball court.
Why ask the question if you don't want an answer? I mean, if you're asking when you think he could be back, could you be back for the playoffs? You just want him to blow off the question. That would make you guys happy as sports talk radio people.
Well, why is the question? Because you might get an interesting answer, and you got one. So
not why. So why ask a question if you don't want an answer?
Why fly a kite when you can just pop a pill?
My question is this, is that you ask the question to get a definite answer, and then when he gives a definite answer, you get upset about the definite answer. I think you wish he was more obtuse about it, is what you're saying.
I think for John, it reinforces how he already feels about Kyrie. And I think for me, more than anything, it kind of puts a more realistic slant on people's expectations for Jason Tatum.
Well, that's a completely different argument.
It's not an argument. It's just
that's
the way
not even
I think
an argument.
about
I mean, that's just, but it's a completely different conversation.
Okay. All right. I would like him to engage in the power of positive thought and say, yeah, I'm going to try and make it back.
I'm questioning I'm questioning your thought of him saying anything bad. I know John's being sincere. I think that you just don't care about what he said.
That's possible.
Yes.
In fact, that's probable.
I'm thinking Hardy just had to pick a side because he was thrown into this, because this was audio that maybe we weren't going to play, and that John legitimately gets annoyed by Kyrie, and that annoys me because he gets annoyed about stuff from the past when what's happening in the present is not.
Well, I had to flip a coin. It was either that or O'Neal Cruz throwing 105 miles an hour from the outfield to get the out of the plate.
I think Fred would have been more interested in that.
No, we had a good conversation about the Kyrie Irving thing. I didn't. No one was disinterested. That's the point. Is that it was it sparked conversation. So thereby it was a success. Well, you heard about all my exciting time in Hoover, Alabama, but that leaves two of the three of us with all their exciting stories.
Oh, there was big goings on in Canton last week, which might be coming to a bit of a resolution today. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it does not.
Yeah, there's a little other murder trial.
No.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
19 days without a murder.
You're listening to Touch.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox are now one game over 500 and 2.5 games out of a playoff spot after sweeping the Washington Nationals yesterday 6-4 at Nationals Park. Garrett Crochet is now 9-4 after allowing 2 runs over 5 innings, and he struck out 7 hitters as well. He leads the majors in strikeouts now with 151. Richard Fitz will go tonight in the opener of a 3-game series against last place Colorado. In other Sox news, they had 3 players elected to the American League All-Star team yesterday. Crochet and Aroldis Chapman will come out of the bullpen for the AL, and despite missing the last 6 weeks with a quad strain, Alex Bregman has made the team as a reserve at third base. All in all, not a bad day for Alex Cora.
I think obviously the fans vote, and I think they got it right in that sense. But for your peers to select you, that means a lot. And Chappie, Garrett, and Alex in a short period of time, right? They have impact this organization on the field and off the field.
Getting back to the Nationals, following yesterday's loss to the Red Sox, they fired manager Dave Martinez and GM Mike Rizzo. The NBA announced a 7-team trade yesterday, included Kevin Durant and Clint Capella to Houston, and Dallas Cowboys All-Pro kick returner Cavante Turpin arrested yesterday and charged with marijuana possession and unlawful carrying of a weapon. He is free on a $1,500 bond. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Super Service Today, Massachusetts' #1 provider for residential and commercial plumbing, heating, cooling, and drain cleaning, day or night, and always done right. Visit superservicetoday.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app, the 98.5 The Sports Hub app.
Fred describes himself in 7 words.
A guy in tights and a cape.
And Hardy with blunt honesty.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
Toucher and Hardy continues on the Sports Hub.
For Instagram, you can see at Toucher and Hardy of really it's the 3 of us, but John's the star of the show. John checking out on the last day before a break. John gets very flighty, no pun intended. He gets distracted. You can tell he wants to leave. And even though the pull of the window, the note, I wish I never mentioned it to him, and I just kept it an inside joke, because now John deliberately doesn't get up and go to the window.
I mean, he doesn't get up during the show, period.
Yeah, like he doesn't get up. Like he just sits in that chair. He doesn't want any accusations of going to the window. How hard was it for you not to go to the window?
I didn't think of it.
Oh,
I didn't think about it.
I almost swore. I honestly don't believe you.
I don't think about these things. They just happen. Maybe subconsciously, because you said it, I don't do it anymore. But it's not like, Fred's gonna kill me.
There's a difference, John. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, did you ever get up to go to the window and go, oh yeah, that's right?
I have not done that.
All right.
No.
But John really he flakes out, and as anyone would, because you did what over break?
Oh, boy. Spent some glorious 5 days with my in-laws. First in Philadelphia, attended a Philadelphia Phillies game, and then down to the Jersey Shore, scenic Ocean City, New Jersey, bike rides, mini golf, beach time. Aren't you jealous?
Now, were the in-laws there the whole time?
Yes.
How old are they?
We had 6 adults and 15 kids running around.
But the in-laws meaning her brothers and sisters?
Yes,
okay.
And my father-in-law was there too.
And how old is he?
He's 77.
Jeez Louise. Young man.
70, yeah, I think he's 77.
All right, so he's got some juice left, hopefully.
Yeah.
But do you have to get her brothers and sisters are there,
yes.
And then their spouses?
Yes, my wife is the oldest of 5.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
And so, and everyone has too many kids, you're saying?
Yes. Well, my wife and I have 2 kids. We are the lowest on the totem pole.
Right, because you bred as you should. You didn't
one pregnancy, twins, bam, done.
Yeah, you didn't exploit the population. And how many kids does the other people have?
They all have at least 3. Some have 4.
Okay, and you were all in one house together.
That's correct.
And everyone has to get along and eat together.
That's correct. You can't go more than 3 minutes without a kid crying, because the kids are anywhere from a year old to my kids are the oldest at 15.
Okay, and so did they have a good time?
My kids love it. My kids love spending time with their cousins. They do.
Okay.
They love going to the beach. They love the whole thing.
All right, and so what do you get to do while you're there?
I get to stay out of the way. I am.
There's a lot of that in your life.
Yeah.
It's just staying out of the way.
Yeah.
You're very.
Yeah, I don't want to screw anything up, Fred. It's very important.
You give full control, it seems, of your life over. And that doesn't bother you. So it's good.
Large portions of time. That's very true.
That's how a marriage works, my friend. Is there's someone who has to eat it. Believe me. And when when that dynamic shifts,
happy day.
happy day when that because there's got to be someone in the relationship that kind of takes a passive role.
That would be me.
Yeah,
that would be me,
and that's why you'll stay married.
Yes, that would be me. And then
it doesn't necessarily have to be the man either to get way of that old sitcom trope. I mean, sometimes the man can be kind of the one who calls the shots, and the woman can be more of the passenger. But that's not the case in a lot of relationships, certainly in Massachusetts.
Very woke.
But that sounds like a nightmare. Now, did you all have to eat meals together?
No, actually, there were times where people went off and did their own thing, so that was good.
Because there was no call to grill for everyone.
There was one night like that.
Yeah,
yes.
see, that's always someone wants to do that, and it's a terrible idea.
There were burgers and dogs, but I mean, there was like a whole thing at the table. There were like 15 hamburgers and 17 hot dogs.
It's an awful idea. It's people like always want to barbecue to the point where I heard at one of these baseball tournaments last year or a couple years ago, whoever was coaching the team sent someone out to buy a grill. Now, Fred, do you mean buy a hibachi grill, like a little tiny grill? No, buy like a full-on Weber grill, build it in the parking lot so the team could have a barbecue. I don't know what this insistence on barbecuing is, like grilling meats.
That's
like
really
yourself.
weird.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Why not buy like one of those round you put the charcoal in and that like
right
it's so much cheaper.
Because the idea because I guess there were so many people they didn't feel like that could do the job. So they
buy two of them. You're still saving money.
Well, no one went out and got the thing, but the idea was
I think you're opposed to the idea of going out and buying any type of appliance to make the food yourself. The end.
Well, no, the notion of that you're going to buy a grill, put it together in the parking lot for one barbecue is a ridiculous notion. But besides the point, I just think that when there's a lot of people, if there's like 5 people and you want to grill, that's fine, 6 people. But when you turn into 15 people and there's gross kids running around and everything, you're better off making it someone else's responsibility. Going off to a restaurant and just enduring that because it's too much of a thing. It's too much of a thing and then someone's got to take charge and they're annoying. No, you're better off at a restaurant. But you survived, Johnny. When did you get back?
I got back last night at about 8:30.
He had some travel troubles.
Well, you were coming from Philadelphia.
Both ways were bad. Both ways were really bad.
How many connections from Philadelphia?
No, I didn't even get off the ground. My flight was canceled after being delayed. They got us on the plane, and then they took us off, and then they canceled the flight. Couldn't rebook me until 24 hours later. So I had to take the Acela down the next day. And the Acela took 5 hours and 15 or 20 minutes. And we got delayed for about a half hour, 45 minutes north of New York. And then on the way back, driving from southern New Jersey to Boston at the end of a holiday weekend, that was fun.
You drove back?
Oh, yeah. Drove back.
In a rental car?
My wife drove down ahead of me. It's complicated. Wife
you took the Acela by yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
Wife went down ahead of me. Took the Acela down by myself. Yes. It was glorious. And then
how long was the drive back?
About 7 hours. 7 hours back in the car yesterday.
What status are you with your airline?
I'm not a diamond medallion.
They would have created a flight for you if you were a diamond medallion.
A diamond medallion. You don't get the 24 hours. You don't get 24 hours. Diamond medallion, you get a direct line. They'll put you on a flight, believe me.
I don't have nearly enough miles on Delta to do that. No.
It was Delta that canceled your flight?
Yes. Apparently thunderstorms in Philadelphia kept the plane from taking off.
And so you were by yourself, and,
yes.
they took you off the plane, so you went home that night. And
I had the house to myself. It was great. But then woke up the next morning, took the 7:30 Acela down, didn't get there till like 1:45 in the afternoon.
And does that drop you in Philadelphia?
Downtown, baby.
And they have to come get you in downtown.
My wife had to come get me, yes.
I've been to that train station. I've taken the train down to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
It's no fun. I took the non-Acela down there. It's like 4 days.
Yeah, that's true. I wouldn't have gone it if I didn't get on the Acela. I wouldn't have done it. I would have done,
just stayed home.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sure it would have been
I may
misery
have just
for you.
stayed home.
Yeah, I think I would have just said whoopsies.
You know what?
I
It's
can't
not
get
going to
there.
work out.
Or I would have just waited till the next flight. And if that took 3 days, that takes 3 days.
I did have a really good time at a Phillies game against San Diego. That ballpark's fantastic. Parking is easy. It was great.
Well, there
go
you
see a game there.
All right,
It was awesome.
and Hardy, you stayed home.
I stayed home, played some golf, played with Dan Roach one day. We had some fun out there.
You were mean to him.
I was mean to him because we were playing a game where you get to choose your partner on each hole, and it's a game called Wolf, right?
Okay.
And you take turns choosing your partner, and I had teamed up with Dan on the first hole. Things did not go well with us, and I ended up partnering with a different guy in the foursome for the next 2 holes. I said, you know what? You and I are a better match. Dan, you suck. And I went over to our cart, and I took his clubs off of my cart, and I switched him with the other guy.
What did Dan do when you did that?
He mother effed me up and down.
Did he? No way.
Oh, yeah.
Hardy
Really?
Hardy said to me out the year, he goes, I think I pissed off Dan. And then he goes and tells this tale, and I'm like, yeah, I would imagine you pissed off Dan.
All those
dink.
years, Fred, that you tried to crawl inside that man's brain and piss him off, it took Hardy maybe 30 minutes.
Well, I wouldn't have done that to him. I don't know him that well. I don't know. I'd have to know someone really well to do
but
that to them.
Over the years, you've tried to push all of Dan's buttons.
Yeah,
and
but
it
that's on
hasn't-
the air.
Yeah.
I don't do it to him off the air. Like off the air, I don't bother him.
So you're a legit a-hole.
So I stuck him. stuck him in a cart with a guy he didn't know that he had met that day. And I took my other friend with me. And I was like, all right, we're partners for the rest of the match. And they had to collect all their crap, phones and water bottles and stuff that, kind of accumulates in the little dashboard of the cart there. Yeah.
Yeah, Hardy's like, do you think that pissed him off? And I'm like, yeah, I think, having to be with a stranger for 2.5, 3 hours now. Yeah, I'm sure that would kind of annoy him.
My God.
out the rage in you.
Yeah.
It shows up only knowing you. He's sitting in your cart, and then you got rid of him.
Yeah.
After 1 hole.
It's almost
No. That was after the turn.
It would be. It's almost that, which is almost worse. But it's so dickish
Oh my God.
that I would actually. He probably didn't even think it was real.
Yeah,
until you actually hit off the next tee.
He probably didn't think it was real when I just took his clubs off.
Right.
But when he saw me set them down and take the other ones off the other cart and put them back in his place, it was real.
No, but
Yeah.
you're missing the other part of it, which is like, okay, Hardy's it'll be for a hole or 2 holes. And Dan's like secretly sitting in the other cart. It'll go back.
Nah.
It'll go back. And it never did.
And then if you're the guy who's any of the other people in the foursome, you're like, why do you get to do all of this? Why do I have to sit here and just take it while you get to peg everyone on the
That other guy.
Well, I was the host, and I made the tea time.
That's right.
That other guy's like, all right, enough about baseball. I'm done.
And then I hope he was a big baseball fan or a big sports fan, so you could grill Dan for 2 hours about sports.
The guy, my buddy Joe, one of the reasons why we're such good friends, he doesn't care. He doesn't listen. He doesn't watch. He doesn't do anything. I'm pretty sure, and I don't know how you grow up in this town and don't know who Dan Roach is. I'm not sure he knew who Dan Roach was.
Oh, boy.
Scram.
He doesn't know.
Dan Roach is for real famous.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the other thing, Fred, and you saw it on the news this morning.
Let's save that.
You want to save that because I do have things to say about it and things that I have done because of it.
And I can tell you, we don't have to tease what it is because we teased it last. But I can pay it off. Is that there is a garbage strike in Hardy's town of Canton, and he will get into it, but because there's no time right now. A garbage strike in Toronto is what got crackhead Rob Ford put into office. There's a great little documentary about it on Netflix. That there was a trash strike, in the mayor of Toronto. Everyone was being so mean to him. In true Canadian fashion, he resigned. He resigned because people were being mean to him. And he just was like, I don't want to put up with this anymore. So they had a special election, and Rob Ford, who was like a weird city councilman guy that was just part of this ward that, who cares? They just elect this maniac. And he goes, I'm running for mayor. Everyone's like, that's cute. He runs around. He starts power washing stuff, and getting it on TV and all this, man of the people crap. And sure enough, they elect him. And then he starts behaving all erratically. And then a video comes out of him smoking crack. He says it's made up. The media's out to attack him. The media is making it all up. The left-wing media is making all this stuff up. They're making up everything about me. He can't believe the media. Half of Toronto thinks he's right. They're like, look at you, Toronto Star, you piece of garbage, you big liars. You're making all this stuff about Rob Ford. And then a month later, there's a big video of him smoking crack. That everyone can see.
A lot of pressure with that job. What do you want him to do?
Not lie. Because what his staff was telling him to do was go to rehab. They were like, go to rehab. Like, first of all, go to rehab, like for real. And then second of all, go to rehab. It's like your get out of jail free card. Like, admit you have a problem and go to rehab. You're supposed to be mayor
of a major American, North American city in rehab. You can't do that.
About this crack.
You go to rehab for 4 weeks, and then you come out clean, and then you're a great mayor, better than before. Everyone would forgive him. I mean, sane people would forgive him. The people that voted for him would forgive him. But instead, he denied, and his staff thought he was telling the truth. And then as soon as that video came out, they all resigned. Oh, it was the press following. They had international press following the mayor of Toronto around. He was about 500 pounds. They were making him run around. They're making him run upstairs. It's really good. It's not like so interesting, like, or any new information, but it is pretty interesting how before Trump, his whole thing was to delegitimize the media.
I think the most interesting thing about watching would be just realizing, oh my God, that happened. And you'd remember certain aspects of it, but holy crap, that happened.
And it was Gawker that broke the story, that allowed everyone to talk about it, because the Toronto paper knew about it, but they didn't have a copy of the video, so they didn't run the story. And then Gawker just went F it and ran the story because they didn't care. And then everyone could go. But he denied it. The media's making this up. It's a big lie. And then his excuse when the video came out was he didn't remember because he's in one of his drunken stupors. He was so blacked out drunk, he didn't remember smoking crack in a crack house. I don't care how. Wouldn't that reverse the effects of being blacked out, though? Seriously, like smoking crack? Wouldn't that, like, put your brain... I never smoked crack.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I know you never have either, but, I mean, I would think cocaine would somehow... Your memory would kind of, like... The chemicals in your brain would kind of go, we're back, baby.
I think it works differently.
It seems to me that if you were going to remember anything, it would be smoking crack, but what do I know? All right, we'll be back in just a moment. The Bruins were active when we were gone. They're exciting things on the horizon for that team. We'll be back in just a moment.
Sports Hub.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he popped, a few years ago. He's had some injuries since then that have, probably derailed a little bit in that regard. I don't know if he's getting back to scoring 27 goals. I sure hope so.
Toucher and Hardy, and the NHL draft was the day we left, and everyone seems very happy with the BC kid that the Bruins took. There was talk of him being the number 1 overall pick in the draft, and then I guess he was a little disappointing the first half of his season, and then turned it on. But by all accounts, they got a center, and a good one at that. And then it came time for trades and free agency. And that's when the Bruins really weren't great. Mitch Marner is now a Las Vegas Golden Knight, so that's off the table. If you wanted the guys that could score goals, you don't have one.
No, Victor Arvidsson. He's going to be your second-line right wing. He's going to be great.
I will read you the lines as, according to Fluto Shinzawa, as constructed if the season were to start today. Morgan Geekie, Elias Lindholm, and David Pastrnak. Pavel Zacha, Casey Middlestat, and Victor Arvidsson.
Yes.
Would be the right wing on your second line. Now, tell me about Victor Arvidsson.
Not great. Was good during the Four Nations face-off for Sweden, was decent in the playoffs, but not a guy who's going to score 30 for you.
How many goals will he score for you?
20, maybe.
You think he'll score 20 goals?
Maybe.
Right. And how long a deal was that?
He's got 1 year left, at $4 million. They got a low draft pick, sent it to Edmonton for him.
Look at that. Victor Arvidsson coming through.
Not to be confused with Victor Artisan, which will show up when you Google his name, who is nicknamed the Vampire of Moai, who was a French grave robber and necrophile.
Yeah? Oh, yeah.
Oh, Vic.
Good old Uncle Vic. Yep. Trailblazer. Yep.
Misunderstood.
Yeah. No, they understood everything. Just got mad about it for some reason. Anyway, he had 27 points last year. He was a -3. But in fairness, he was on a bad team.
I know. How is that even possible? How could he be a -3 on a team that's been to back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals?
I don't know. And then they have a man.
That's hard to do.
It really is.
Now, so you're cooking with gas with that second line. And then on the second line, on the third line, you have Tanner Jeannot. My bad. And
13 points last season.
Yeah, he of 13 points and 7 goals.
But at least you signed him to a 5-year contract.
And that's the thing, is that, I understand that they had to get guys to play. That's an oversimplification. No, it's not. They needed 5 forwards to play hockey on this team. So they did have to get bodies, NHL bodies in here. But I don't understand why you have to sign them for 5 years. Aren't there, a ton of dudes that are just big and strong? But you would think that you would be able to find 1 million guys that are just big and strong. But it's a body type.
But it's not just that. Jeannot's better known for fighting than he is for offense, and you just signed him to a 5-year contract. There was no need for that. I would bet there's no one bidding, I'll give him 4 years, I'll give him 5 years. Sweeney probably just came in over the top and said, I want this guy.
But you also want a goon on your third line.
Yes.
But the thing is, too, is that I would have to imagine that if you're taking down unique skills in the NHL, and by guys, you value people based on their uniqueness, being big and strong would be the easiest thing in the world to find. You can just find anyone to have 13 points and fight. There's a billion. There's got to be 1 billion guys in Canada that are 6'2" that are willing to fight. I don't understand why this guy deserves your money. And maybe there's a reason. I haven't heard one hockey expert that likes the signing, but maybe there's a reason. But it just seems something that easy to develop. Just go out and grab 5'6", 230-pound guys They're all around and jam them and see which one can
Screw that.
skate.
You could probably go to the Providence Bruins roster.
That's what I'm saying.
Find a guy like that. I mean,
that's tough. That's
yes.
beer league nonsense. I can find a guy that's tough.
5 years and he's your third line left wing. I mean, name me another team in the NHL that does this.
I don't know, and it's the length of the contract too. Because I understand that you just need guys. So if they would have signed like a bunch of jabronis to 1-year deals, good. They're gonna suck next year anyway. Fine. Like you just got to fill the roster. But I don't know why these guys are gonna be around like when your kids are in college.
And the other part of it is,
this is like they're going to be sitting here for a while on bad deals.
The other part of it is that it would be fine just in another sense if it was one signing where you're just like, okay, we need to fill out our bottom six. We need one guy who doesn't score goals and is physical and is tough to play against. But Sweeney went and signed like 4 of those guys.
Well, they have one guy that will score goals and maybe 2. Because Geeky, if he can do what he did last year,
great.
But best case scenario, they have 2 guys that can score goals.
Arvidsson will get you 15. He had 15 last year, and has never scored more than 26. And he is getting top 6 minutes for you. Yeah, probably 15, time on the power play.
Yeah, again, 15 goals is not a skill. Sean Corrali is back at center. I didn't even know he was still in the league.
I think he went to Columbus. That's probably why you didn't recognize where he went.
And I remember Sean Corrali, but I don't remember him that well.
No, he was your
don't remember him enough to say whether it's good or bad that he's back.
Well, I think it's bad he's your third line center.
Yeah, he was your fourth line center when he was here the first time.
It's a promotion based, and then a man by the name of Murat, and then a bunch of letters.
Hustadinov, they got him in a trade last year. He was already here.
Yeah, he was already here, apparently. That John says that. I don't know.
He was already here.
John mentioned him a couple of times when we were doing What Happened Last Night. I'm like, who?
Yeah, Murat Hustadinov.
Yeah.
Okay, and so he is not so big, and he's young, and he had 12 points last year in 75 games.
But good for the Bruins. Trying to
he's slight and bad.
Trying to match what the Panthers are doing with some size and strength. We're going to go out there and bully them. It's like you've
worked so well for you last season.
A, you've tried this before, and B, it's not even a unicorn anymore. What you need are sizable guys who can handle themselves, who can also play, who can also score.
You need skill.
And if you're going to choose between one or the other, it's like, well, here's a skilled guy, but he's going to get pushed around. Take the skill guy.
Yes.
If you're gonna, this guy can't score any goals, but he's not going to get pushed around. Well, so what? And that's who you take? That's who you end up signing? That's what you end up making your team out of?
You want to be tough to play against? All right, you tried that. It didn't work. Where's your scoring depth, especially since you unloaded all that money on Elias Lindholm, who's not good, and he's your first top-line center. Wow. He wasn't at the end of last season, but you're paying him like one. I mean,
that's one of the worst contracts in the league. And then you have Johnny Beecher, homegrown, that's good. Mark Kastelic, that's fine. And a man by the name of, he goes by Mikey, which is cute. Mikey.
Asamont.
Sure. And he had 16 points last year.
Yes, he is your fourth line
in 77 games. So
right.
You have quite a collection of single-digit goal scorers in the mix.
It's almost as if Sweeney was trying to collect all of them. It's really impressive if you think about it.
It's the contract length that's odd because, again, these guys seem like just dudes that you could pick up. They would seem to be a dime a dozen. I mean, there's a lot of kids in Canada, in the U.S., that are big and want to play hockey. I mean, just make a farm system of just 6'2", 230 kids and have a whole breeding ground of them. That's got to be amazingly easy to find. Now, a skilled guy who's 6'2", 230 is like impossible. That's like an Eric Lindros situation. And that's like the unicorn. But just some guy who can skate around who's big and isn't afraid of getting hit. I mean, I can't imagine that that's a unique skill in the NHL. Nor something that is going to help you necessarily win. So they're going to suck next year. They're fine defensively.
Yeah.
But they're awful. Their forwards are awful. And they will be for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and you remember what we were saying at this time last year. They're going to have to win games 2-1. and that didn't work. It didn't work at all.
It's too much to ask. It's like asking a baseball team to win games 2-1. Like, it's just, you can't do it. Like, well, we're great defensively and great pitching. Well, yeah, but it's unfair to, like, tell your pitcher, like,
incredible pressure.
You got to hold teams to 1 run.
Yeah.
Like, you got to hold teams to, like, a goal or 2.
How much pressure is on Charlie McAvoy and Jeremy Swayman and Hampus Lindholm to have lights out nights, 82 games?
Yeah, it's just not a way to do business. It's completely unfair, and it's grueling. I mean, 84 games of this now.
84 games now, yeah.
84 games where you got to, like, it's on you if they score 3 goals. Imagine that. Like, you're a pitching staff. Every time you go out, every 5th day, you're a pitcher, and you're like, well, if they get 3 runs, I'm screwed. My theory in baseball is 4 runs or it's your responsibility. If you don't score 4 runs, you got no one on the team's got any right to pitch. If you can't score 4 runs, that's on you. Maybe not major league, but any other level. But hockey, what do you say? Like 3 goals.
Yeah,
3 goals.
3 would be nice. Yeah,
you gotta score 3 goals, or I don't want to hear about it. Like, you're gonna lose some games 2-1. You're gonna lose some games 1-0. That's gonna happen. But for a season, if you're not scoring 3 goals, there's nothing to talk about. You could be the greatest defensive team of all time.
Where is the offense coming from other than Pastrnak?
You have to have at least the hope that there are going to be nights when you're going to go off for 5 or 6 goals against a goalie that doesn't have dysentery. You know, you have to have enough goal scorers on your team, or enough guys at least capable of scoring goals to where that could happen. And I don't see that happening outside of Pastrnak having a hat trick on those nights. You're not going to have that with this roster. You're not going to have and on any given night, this team can go out there and score you 5 or 6 if the goalies are letting in a lot on both sides.
I don't think there's a conceivable way there'll be a functioning team offensively, and that's not an overblown sports radio take. I honestly don't believe that this team has a opportunity to be good offensively next year. Short of like Lysell or someone or Patois like coming up in going nuts.
They have 3 kids. Hopefully one of them pops.
Right.
You have Patra, you have Lysell, who has not shown himself to be capable, and you have this kid Mitten, who you got in a trade, Fraser Mitten, who's a center, that you got in a trade. Then maybe he turns into something.
But as constructed in that line, those 3 lines I just gave you, this team's going to be very, very poor and uninteresting too, which is a shame.
That's the thing. That's the other part of it that really needs to be discussed. They're bad, but they're boring. You have to be good or exciting. One of those 2 things.
Well, the idea would be, I guess, like in 2 years, you would get that 2008-ish feel from the Bruins.
From our end, you get that extra first-round pick.
No. What I'm saying is that in 2 years from now, you would have like a bit of a youth movement start sprinkling in.
Okay.
And then you would make a big free agent signing at that point. I think they have like a gilded vision of 2008. You know, when they got Savard and Chara, and then they started, Marchand and Bergeron, and those guys came up, and, there was some excitement. But you're a couple years away from that. Even if you hit on this draft, and congratulations to them, everyone appears to love this kid. But even if you hit on him, I mean, he's 17 years old.
That's the other thing. He's not going to play for you until at least a year from now, and there's no guarantee he's going to be any good immediately.
Let's just say he is, and let's just say everything works. Let's hope it, because we need it. And they have a history of being good. I mean, they're generally pretty good. They have valleys, but in the 90s, they made Stanley Cup finals. They've had a very good run here. So let's say everything works and that they picked the correct talent in the draft. I'm telling you, this year's going to be brutal. Brutal. Don't worry about the spring so much with this team.
Yeah.
And save the crying for later, because if they're that uninteresting, I ain't talking about them. And I like the team. They're the only team in town that I like. But I'll tell you what, I'm not going on and on.
You've got to put more of an effort into the offseason than what you're doing right now in order to guarantee my interest.
I'm not going to sit around bitching for 84 games about some team that can't score. I'll tell you that. I'll bore myself to death. All right. And that's the position you don't want to be in. You want people complaining about you at least. You get into Red Sox territory where, unless you trade Devers, you're a dead duck. I mean, you got to really screw up to get people
really
talking.
Cool to get you.
You got to do something real dumb to get people talking about you. All right, we'll be back. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headline.
Not just Canton. For public services, their workers are on strike, affecting, I believe, 17 communities, and Canton is one of them. Now, I was clued into this weeks ago, Fred, by, I'm not going to say who, let's call him Joey, because that's his name. I mean, Joey takes care of Joey is our trash guy. And
right.
I'm not,
a guy that you run out of the house to talk to when the trash truck comes by.
He's really there to see the dog more than he is to see me.
That's fun.
And I'm there to see him. But we're talking in the driveway, and he told me, he's like, "Hey, man, this isn't looking good. This isn't looking good." So I had the heads up on this, and it finally came down. And it's weird. It's not like a siren that goes off. You have to be checking your emails, or you have to be signed up for alerts, because otherwise, there's not a town crier that goes around and tells you trash isn't going to be picked up. You really have to rely on either neighbors or actually paying attention to the stuff that we ignore, I think 90% of the time.
You have to have your ear to the street, you do. He says that the guy comes to see the dog, but I don't understand how Hardy's part of that.
I don't get it.
Like, if the dog's outside and he pets the dog, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But Hardy has to be outside right when the trash guy comes in order to talk to him.
The whole thing is really odd. Really odd.
It's like the ice cream truck in like a little kid. Like, they come running out when they hear it.
Okay, the dog hears the trash truck, and she gets excited and runs to the door, and I go to let her out, and there's Joey. Now, I know him because I've spoken with him before, and we talk about golf. He plays a lot, and we talk about other things.
And meanwhile, the trash everywhere else is this is why they're not paying these guys, because they're lazing around petting dogs instead of picking up the trash.
He's a hard worker, and there's no laziness about it. We expedite our conversations, and then he's on his way.
Well, does he expedite it, or do you expedite? I have a feeling he expedites it.
Oh, you saying he's trying to get rid of me?
I'm thinking that he has other things to do and is not there for a 25-minute chinwag. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, he doesn't have anything to do right now other than walk a picket line, which means that trash isn't going to pick itself up. So guess what this guy had to do last week? Not once, but twice.
Yeah.
Trip to the dump, baby.
Utter trash.
Oh, boy. Now, I already had on my list of things to do last week stuff that, I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm going to just take care of this around the house. I'm going to do this. I'm going to have that. So there was already one dump visit planned for something that I couldn't put out just with the trash. But now it's, I'm not only going to take this, but I'm going to take other things from around the house. You know what else I did, Fred? Asked if anyone else on the street needed their trash taken.
Of course you did.
Now listen, I'm not.
Of course.
Did you ring their doorbells, or did you call them?
Did.
Well, Chris
I got a pickup truck. Just toss it on in there.
Chris, I used to call my largely useless neighbor, who I've morphed into more useful by the day. He has proven himself useful in a number of areas. He was supposed to go with me to the dump, and I texted him. I'm like, it's dump time. It's 10 a.m. The day is wasting away. Let's go to the dump. And I text him, nothing. He ghosts me. Like, screw that guy. I thought I was going to have a dump buddy. So instead, I see another neighbor out there who is wheeling his trash barrels out. I said, not getting picked up. He said, what do you mean? I said, what do you mean? What do I mean? There's no trash pickup. They're on strike. I said, I can take that for you. Is it bagged up? He said, oh, yeah, it's bagged up. I said, leave it out there on the curb. I'll come by. So I flipped open the cover of my pickup and treated it up like a little trash truck.
I got to say, this is the first time in the time that Hardy has owned this comically large pickup truck that it's actually been used for something like that a truck that size would be used for. So good for you, Hardy.
I got mulch. I got mulch and gravel.
I would actually, if I had a neighbor that texted me and said, like, I'm going to the dump, do you want me to take anything? That would be the greatest thing ever. I'd be like, yeah. I got a bunch of stuff I want you to take. Like, come get this mattress out of my attic. I'd have Hardy working double overtime. You would love it.
Do you know how much fun it was, though, pulling up next to those trash barrels on the curb? Because he's across the street and down a couple of houses. So I had to slam the door around, flip open that barrel, toss the bags into the bed of my truck.
You should have changed majors at Michigan State. Could have done it for a living.
If
he went to Central, they got a good program.
But 2 trips to the dump last week. When I say slim pickings, there were no pickings. Normally, there will be things outside the dumpsters. There are actual dumpsters at the dump. You just don't throw it on a pile of garbage. They go into dumpsters. And things that people say, you know what, I'm going to throw this away, but anybody can have it because it's perfectly useful. And you'll find all kinds of good stuff out there. You know, the
rusty tricycles.
Sometimes
to make folk art.
Sometimes they're children's toys. I found 2 bags of LL Bean like duck boots that somebody was just going to throw away. I'm like, why not donate these to a clothing thing? And I didn't take.
They don't want used clothing a lot of times, especially shoes. And I'm not making.
Oh
that
yeah,
up.
maybe the shoes are
because you're giving them
too.
You're giving them to humans,
right?
Like that.
It's like
they don't want your soulless.
It's like giving them
ASICs.
muffin stumps.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, these are people too.
Exactly.
But there was nothing.
Top of the morning to you. Top of the muffin to you.
There was nothing stacked up against the side of the dumpsters on either one of my trips this past week, which is really, really disappointing. That's half the reason for going.
Well, you got every jabroni in town going to the dump, so they're probably picking up everything quick.
Yeah, bingo, Fred. You just hit it.
Yeah, you got every a-hole from every Johnny-come-lately coming to the dump, picking up every fine item.
Yeah, people, asking how to get there and where it is. I'm like,
where is the dump? Do you not want to say? Is it like a restaurant that you don't, a hole-in-the-wall restaurant you don't want anyone to know about?
People have been to Canton, gone to the ice house where a bunch of different hockey teams, like, schools and stuff have as their home rink. It's not far from there.
Because my parents when I moved, they took stuff. My dad took stuff to the dump, but I still don't know where the dump is by me.
You didn't go with him?
Oh, I had my hands full. Believe me, I had my hands full. I had enough going on. I didn't have. He volunteered. He just he didn't take anything big, but I don't know why they even went to the dump. Quite frankly, it's all stuff that could have been thrown away.
Well, I don't know who's. They said that it's being picked up today. I don't think the strike has been resolved, so there may be.
Maybe the mayor will be out there picking stuff up.
But there is no mayor in Canton.
Maybe the head of the
top selectman.
Yeah, the head of the Whig Party will be out there picking things up.
It's a Tory.
Yes, the parliamentary Capitan will pick things up. That'd be a way to be mayor. Yeah. If you want to be mayor of Canton, you Rob Ford that son of a bitch and just go out there, get a video camera, and have yourself picking up everyone's trash. I swear to God, you'd get whatever position it's called there. That's how Rob Ford became mayor of Toronto. And I'm telling you, just go out and give your phone number to people. When they call you, go I'll go over there and fix things. What you did to your neighbor's trash is really how Rob Ford became mayor. He handed out business cards with his number, and people would call, and he would come out and fix the problem.
Right, and if after that you can just stay away from the crack pipe, you could stay mayor for decades.
Exactly. Yeah, have a dad that you couldn't please with your athletic prowess because you weren't good at sports and you had to do something. So, impress him with your political skill. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Hardy's the real star of the show. When he wasn't taking trash to the dump, he was calling sporting events. We will have that for you in just a moment.
Like a raccoon that you see in the trash can.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Red Sox finished off a 3-game sweep of the Washington Nationals yesterday, 6-4. Trevor Story and Ceddanne Rafaela both homered. Sox are a game over 500. They'll play the worst team in the majors, the Colorado Rockies, tonight at Fenway Park. Garrett Crochet allowed 2 runs over 5 innings yesterday afternoon to pick up the win, and then was yesterday named an American League All-Star.
It's special, it's an honor just to represent this organization at, an event of that caliber, whether it's the first year or not. It just kind of adds a little cherry on top, I suppose. It's really cool.
Aroldis Chapman will also pitch out of the AL bullpen. Alex Bregman was added as a reserve at third base. The game is a week from tomorrow night in Atlanta. Fresh from getting swept by the Red Sox, the Washington Nationals yesterday fired both manager Dave Martinez and GM Mike Rizzo. The Nationals are 16 games under 500. The NBA announced a record 7-team trade yesterday, included Kevin Durant and Clint Capella to Houston. And in tennis news, men's top seed Jannik Sinner and American Ben Shelton will play 4th-round matches later today at Wimbledon. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the new burgers at the 99, like the new Bourbon Onion Burger. The half-pound, 100% American Angus beef is sure to please. You gotta love the nines. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
To us, Boston pride runs deep.
I'm a Bostonian!
This is Boston's Home for Sports.
Bow, bow, bow!
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Oh boy, I guess it's time for more Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
I got the ultimate Frisbee. It does phenomenal things. It can fly anywhere when it glides through the air.
We're Toucher and Hardy. You can watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. They want that for some reason. All right, so they're joking, obviously. By the way, big sports news. The Celtics and Damian Lillard, mutual interest. So look out. You, in 2 years, can have a 40-year-old coming off an ACL. Not ACL, Achilles injury.
2 guys coming off the Achilles, same year.
We'll have to talk about that later. It's like, you got to get rid of everybody. You can only have Jason Tatum and no one else. Now it's, but you can have Tatum, Brown, and Lillard. You can have all those guys.
Well, I mean,
that's if he agrees to a contract for nothing.
I would trade. I would sign Lillard for the veteran minimum. I mean, he's not going to be good at all anymore. I mean, he relies on quickness. I mean, he's not good. He's old and just tore his
great
his
shooter. If you can wheel him over into a corner, he can make any 3 you want.
Yeah, a spot shooting little guy. I'm not. No, thank you. I'm not. It's funny because he's got a really big name and he's great. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, but
he's also going to be 35,
and he's the mayor of Portland. But no, thank you. You can keep Damian Lillard. All right, it would be fun for jersey sales. All right. Well, listen, Hardy. He picking up physical trash was not the only trash he was involved in over the course of the week. Trash was on the mind of everyone in Canton, and Hardy was not alone. He called it a trash recreational activity as well. Now, how did this end up happening?
Man.
Now, that's unkind.
Yes. Tell the people what you did, and then they can agree or disagree. I set it up unfairly.
You did, but it was funny to look at his face while you did it.
Earlier this year, I was contacted by members of the Boston Glory Ultimate Team. Now, this is a professional Ultimate Team.
They drill holes in restrooms.
Salary cap is a problem for this team.
They're the glorious of all the holiest.
Yep.
Can I tell you that I wanted to make a glory hole joke when I was doing this yesterday, and I thought better of it. So this is part of the UFA, the Ultimate Frisbee Association, and earlier in the year, we discussed ways to incorporate some ultimate talk into the show. And I said, with the brute that I work with, that will be difficult. However, we came up with a couple of different ideas, and I said, number one, does anybody on the team play golf? They said yes. I said, let's do a little combo, little crossover segment on the Sports Hub Golf Club. We come on and we talk some ultimate, and we talk some golf too. So we did that a couple weeks ago on the Sports Hub Golf Club, which also led to an idea. I said, hey, there's one big blank spot on my resume, as a broadcaster. I've never done any play-by-play or color analysis for any live sporting event. If you ever need someone to fill in as an analyst or as a color commentator for one of your Ultimate games, I would be thrilled to do it. And they said, sure. So this past week, or the week before, I said, I see that you got a home game coming up. There's a big spot on the schedule for both teams as the Boston Glory were playing host to the DC Breeze. Final regular season home game at Hormel Stadium in Medford, Massachusetts. And I said, if it'd be okay, I could be there for that one. They said, you know what? Our regular color analyst is off that week, probably having something to do with it being 4th of July weekend.
Just like he has a day off?
Yeah. Like Grandy, you can just, bang out whenever you want.
Right.
Maybe he had a UFC fight to call. I don't know.
No, he had a cornhole match in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
So I said, that's a perfect spot. I will be there. And I showed up yesterday at Hormel Stadium in order to provide.
How was traffic?
It's a good point. If you're there too late, you might get caught in a jam.
Yeah, no,
That's
you
bad.
have a responsibility.
That's a good
Did
point.
they give you like a parking pass?
Getting there is hard. It's a lot of stoplights right
Did you have
there.
to park at a neighbor's house?
There was a lot of parking being used up by some church event right next door to Hormel.
Yeah, that's how it is in Green Bay.
Yeah.
So the lesson here before we get to the audio of Hardy calling the ultimate Frisbee game is really all you have to do is just randomly email him and you'll get on the golf show. Under any guise.
Yes.
He's so frantic to fill that hour up.
Yes.
As easily as possible.
And now I've got beaten sweating bullets every Wednesday or Thursday as we're trying to piece together the golf show for the week, as he has been unceremoniously given the task of being the executive producer of the Sports Hub Golf Club.
98.5 the Golf Club.
So who was the guest this week?
I don't remember.
It was Roachy.
It was Dan Roach?
Yeah, it was Roach.
Oh, so that's why you played golf with him. So you could humiliate him and put him on the show.
And then, we recorded a segment to use on the show this past Sunday.
Huh.
There you go. So did you play golf with one of these Frisbee guys?
I have not yet.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
It was just under the guise of golf.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, look, the actual product for the Sports Hub Golf Club has gotten pretty good. There's video components now. We add in stuff. You can see them online, Fred. If you go on to 985thesportshub.com, you can actually watch the Sports Hub Golf.
You got an endorsement out of it. Who am I to say anything? Yeah. You're getting paid. All right. And you can't fault anyone for that. All right. So, but not for this.
No.
So you went out to Medford.
This is all about the ultimate. I get up into the booth, top of the bleachers.
Where is this being broadcast on in all seriousness?
Ryan actually had to pay $12 to get the feed. What was it? It's kind of like a FUBU type of thing.
Yeah, it's like ultimate.tv.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan was very quick to say he had to pay $12. Then Hardy had to fork it over pretty quick.
Yeah.
So $12. It's like that dumb pageant. That
Just about to say that.
Jordan was in.
Proprietary streaming service.
All right. So for a mere $12, which is like what you could get Netflix for, you could get the Ultimate channel. What are they bringing in? $100?
I haven't looked at their financials.
What's the money making opportunity for this?
Look, I didn't ask them to open up the books.
Okay. Well, you should next time. Well, this is a team from Washington, D.C.?
The Boston Glory were hosting the DC Breeze yesterday.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
The chase for the playoffs continues in Week 11 of the UFA season. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Craig Salvador.
Now, I thought you were with a guy. When does the AI stop?
No. Let me tell you, Craig is a polished play-by-play guy.
He's a pros pro.
I knew, like, going in, this wasn't going to be, just a loosey-goosey affair. I could tell that I was in there with somebody who knew what he was doing. I had to stay a little buttoned up.
Yeah. And now, what was your view like of the field?
Excellent view. We're just shy of the 50-yard line. We're right about the 40.
Okay. And there wasn't too much crowd. I can't hear the crowd bleeding in too much.
Not yet. You can't. There were some DC Breeze fans seated right in front of us, which was unfortunate.
DC Breeze fans?
Oh yeah,
shooting the breeze about philosophy, the Italian.
Do they wear what's the uniform like? Is it kimonos?
Did they have T-shirts? It said DC Breeze on them?
Singlets.
Yeah, it's got to be something pretty dumb. They wear Birkenstocks or barefoot.
That would be key. Yeah,
barefoot. It's much like a soccer kit. Okay,
Do they decide who goes first by hacky sack?
That's the best way to describe.
How many
it. novelty
games do you play? Do you do your lawn darts?
There's a hack off right center field.
It's just a bunch of novelty stuff. The trophy's fake barf.
Damn you! I forgot my spike ball kit.
Everything Whammo makes is there for the taking. They're like, this fake poo is, you get the trophy.
They throw lawn jarts to see who gets close to the center for who gets first pull.
That's right. All right, here we go. It's the novelty game of Ultimate Frisbee.
It's not a novelty. That makes it on the Sports Center top 10.
The chase for the playoffs continues in Week 11 of the UFA season. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Craig Salvador, bringing you this Eastern Division matchup between the undefeated Boston Glory and the visiting DC Breeze. Here at Hormel Stadium here in Medford, Massachusetts, I'm Craig Salvador again, joined by a very special guest here in the broadcast bowl. We have Rob Hardy Poole from, locals may know, from 98.
Yeah. For you guys out of state, this is just some local schmuck.
Well, this is being broadcast on the World Wide Web, so you don't want to make it too Boston centric. And look, as a color analyst, I got a little homer tendencies at time during the broadcast, but I had to keep reminding myself this was an international broadcast.
And that's what I always tell my daughter's friends when they're doing their podcasts from their basement, the Tales of the 8th grade. I go, you have to. Not everyone's going to know about your middle school.
Yes. I'm wondering what the attire was for the broadcasters.
Yeah,
some of us have to. I mean, when I do Celtic games, you have to wear like a jacket, a tie.
Excellent question, Mr. John Wallach, because I thought about this. I had to come straight from the golf course, and I packed up my clothes ahead of time thinking, I just don't want to show up in a T-shirt.
No.
I got to wear something a little bit nicer. So it was warm. 90 degrees yesterday, so I ended up with a golf shirt. It was a collared shirt. I did wear shorts.
Okay,
I had to.
But the camera doesn't pan down for you, right? It didn't matter, right?
No.
Did the other guy go all cosplay and wear a suit, or was he like you?
No, he was wearing a shirt. I believe it had full buttons on it, but it was a short sleeve button. He was wearing a Sipowicz.
Okay.
A short sleeve dress shirt.
Very good.
Very good. All right.
98.5, the Sports Hub. Hardy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Craig, thank you for having me, buddy. I appreciate it. We got a beautiful day. There is a little bit of wind here today, which is probably going to be very much welcome because otherwise temperature out there very, very warm. It's not a must-win situation for the Boston Glory today, but, man, would they like to get this win so that they can have home field in the playoffs.
When are you going to stop copying Chris Collinsworth? He always, first thing, Sunday night football, Monday night football, he'll just go, hey, here's a nice breakdown of the weather.
Because you're painting a picture, Fred. You want to know what it's like to be there. What is it like to be there? And the people they wag their finger about conversations about the weather. No, the weather affects everybody. And if you're painting the picture,
did you ask
want to
every
know what
player
it's like
individually how they're doing?
You want to know what it feels like to be there. You know what it felt like? It felt hot and breezy. That's what it felt like.
Wind, very important in Ultimate.
Very
important in Ultimate.
You start with the most boring conversation starter you can think of, which is the weather.
Maybe you could have included the fact that it would alter one way or
when
another.
When does this shift into a very politically charged affair?
Well, I mean, with the DC Breeze in town, you could very easily go there.
Well, you know who's a big fan of them? That Ted Cruz.
A huge game for DC if they can win to get
if they win, they all get a free milkshake.
They all go to Dairy Queen.
They get fed.
Blizzards for everybody.
If they all listen, I promise the guys, if they win, they can search my couch for change.
These are grown men with real careers. And they're also highly trained
Frisbee
athletes.
on the side.
So, they're not going for milkshakes. And no, they're not destitute either, Fred.
At halftime, I built a sweet ramp at my mom's driveway. You guys want to go off in bikes?
I got a couple extra skateboards.
If they can win to get to even higher above that 500 mark, improve to 6-4.
You know, we built a fort in the living room yesterday. We were devising the plan for how we were going to put these teams in different divisions. My friend decided he was going to build a pirate ship, so I started this league instead.
You like that one?
Yeah. We had a treasure map. And at the end, it was this stupid idea.
6-4 or 6-6 on the year.
Yeah, that was a difference, bucko.
Leave Craig alone.
I'm kidding. I'm just messing.
We're just getting into
I'm
things.
just
He's
messing.
got a new partner in the booth. You got to give him some time to feel
kidding.
things
He's
out.
doing a great job.
He is
I'm
doing a good job.
actually kidding around.
Is pretty much good to clinch the playoffs.
And normally, you know, based on the way these teams play, I would like DC's chances in a lot of other circumstances. Tight formations offensively, just trying to be very methodical with the passes and moving the disc, especially in some breezy conditions here today. But you're going up against an undefeated Boston Glory team that really, really wants to win so they get home field. So they're going to have to get out of their comfort zone today, I think, if they want to get the win.
You do a little pregame video analysis, or are you just making it up?
Oh no! I do my homework. You know, see what these teams are known for, and what they've been good at during the season. And the DC Breeze, they love to dump and swing. They love
the what?
Oh, two things are going to set Fred off. The dump and swing.
Yeah.
You know, you swing the disc around kind of laterally.
You go to the bathroom in the playground.
You dump it off behind you to another handler behind you, and you're just playing a chess match, waiting for things to open up downfield.
It sounds
So
exciting.
you take the strike. It's not the way the Boston Glory plays, and that's why they were undefeated heading into yesterday's game.
Quick strike.
Well, until a couple of guys on the team were grounded, and that didn't do good for anyone. Their moms wouldn't let them go no matter what. They had to, but at the end, John, they had to speed things up because it was getting dark, and some of the team had to be home, or they weren't going to get supper.
Then a dog came on the field, took the Frisbee, and that ended things.
It was you can't have them too early because 5 of these kids have paper routes.
That's a troop joke, so I hope you're pleased with yourself.
Yeah, I didn't even listen to it. I just let it flow over me.
Yeah,
it's just interruption. Just kidding.
You know, I'm checking the flags, and obviously they're going to have the wind at their back here as they go downfield. DC does as we get underway.
Yep.
But you know what?
That was from the church next door, letting everybody know.
Is the game over? What?
No, the spaghetti
happened?
dinner was ready. That was actually from the church.
Yeah,
And 12 showed up for a spaghetti dinner.
An 80-year-old blowing into a kazoo.
My cue.
Now here's the ceremonial kazoo. Another Whammo product.
As we get underway.
Yep.
And it's Dr. Demento with the opening kazoo. Ladies and gentlemen, he a big proponent of the Whammo magic sets.
We get underway.
Yep.
But, as we know, it swirls.
Nobody guarding Horace Berger as he gets this one to McCann, and now over to Johnson go.
So far, Boston just taking what the DC defense gives them, which isn't a lot, settling for some very short cuts, moving the disc backward now.
There's a good layout grab right there from McCann and goes lefty to Young. Young now collecting his wherewithal and then looking on goal line in the extra throw. Gets to Ivan Tran. Boston opens up the scoring with the break.
That's all it takes. You take what the defense gives you. You move back and forth, left to right. You give up a few yards just to create...
The excitement.
What are you stopping it? What are you stopping it for? I'm getting into my flow.
It sounds like this.
Look, they don't have all the technology to go out there with parabolic microphones and call Dennis Knudsen on them. So yeah, there's a nice crowd there. You can hear the applause. I'm breaking down the goal. I'm breaking down how they scored the goal.
All right. I swear to God, the noise might have been 20 times greater at my son's baseball games last week. There might have been, I bet you, no joke, not kidding, 10 times as many people.
Well, you can't tell from this. We're talking into microphones and we're in a booth.
How many people were there, Hardy?
If there were 20 or less.
500.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, get out of here.
Oh, yeah.
Would they let an asylum out?
No.
Did they give everyone a day pass at the rehab?
I'll find out how many people were there right now.
500 people, my ass.
How many Cub Scouts got free tickets?
500 people, like a decent band gets 500 people.
Bunch of buses from the Puzzle Factory out front dropping everybody off.
No, you don't have to get in on that hate talk.
That swing across to the left-hand side, easy backhand throw for the goal.
100%. Nice, simple backhands get the job done.
I would tell him 2 hands on that one. I think he could have got 2 hands on it. I don't mind the right hand underneath on the backhand throw. He managed to come down with it, but next time, let's get 2 hands on that thing.
You hear that, B-Mac? 2 hands next time.
No, they already have a
Sacrifice
report.
both the elbows to make sure you come away with the disc.
I've played on this turf. This turf is terrible, so I can only imagine.
Oh, look at that. A little shot at the league, how crappy the fields are. All right. Well, good job, Hardy. And again, if you want Hardy to do anything, simply email him, regardless of travel or time or a weekend. He will be out there, lickety-split.
It's the ultimate Frisbee!
Rock and roll. All right. Well, there you go. Hardy's available. Hardy at 985thesportshub.com. Anything you need. Trash
Any ideas?
Pickup, anything you need. You want to be on the golf show, it doesn't matter what you do. Or your felony record. And nothing matters. There's no standard, no bar to clear. Tom Caron is a real-time broadcaster. He is of Nesson, of course, with the Red Sox, and the trade deadline looms. They've won some games recently. We'll see where they stand. We'll be back in just a moment.
More Toucher and Hardy on the way on the Sports Hub.
Men, summertime is here.
Obviously, the fans vote, and I think they got it right in that sense. But for your peers to select you, that means a lot. And Chappie, Garrett, and Alex in a short period of time, right? They have impact this organization on the field and off the field.
For Toucher and Hardy, that is Alex Cora, if you didn't know. We're talking about the 3 All-Stars that the Red Sox have. Crochet and Chapman, and then a guy that played like 8 games. He gets to be an All-Star.
Hasn't played in 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's weird. It was weird that he made the All-Star game. And then he was at the owner's spot, like the owner of the Saints had him at some affair. He's part of the Illuminati, is what I'm thinking. Tom Caron is as well. He's a studio host and broadcast announcer for Nesson, and member of many secret clubs in the Boston area. Tom Caron, hello, sir.
Good morning. I can neither confirm nor deny any of that.
And I wouldn't expect anything less from you, sir, knowing your background. Thank you so much for joining us, Tom. We appreciate it. We're working on getting you sponsored. If anyone wants to sponsor Tom Caron segments...
Yeah.
These are like the ads. These are like those ads at TV station. We're guilty. Nessa, like you run an ad that says, "Hey, advertise on our network."
Well, the quickest way to do it is to email me, and then I'll just send it to the head of sales, and then it will get done.
This can get done in like a day.
Yeah, it really.
Seriously.
I mean, there's a billion people that would do
it.
it. Believe me, there's a million people that would do it. It's just incentivizing someone to do it. All right, look. But I appreciate, Tom, in the meantime, you agreeing to join us. All right.
I'm here for you.
Thank you. Well, it's much appreciated. You're the only Red Sox guy we want. All right, so here's the deal. Okay, look, they've been good against some bad competition, whatever they count. They play Colorado. They should do well there. They'll be... Look, they're not going to win the East, but they'll be certainly in the conversation for a while, the third wild card. Breslow's come out and Breslow or whatever came out and said that there was permission from ownership to do something at the deadline. What are your expectations? First, I'll ask you your expectations.
Well, I mean, you're exactly right. All you got to do in baseball today, if you're at 500 at the Labor Day, you're in the hunt. And they'll be around that, I think. I mean, I thought that last year, too, and they fell apart. But they're a team that's good enough to hover around 500, beat up on some bad teams. You lose some games against good teams. So, yeah, they're going to be in this wild card thing. I thought last week Breslow came on our show, and I thought it was the strongest statement I'd heard yet. He simply said, listen, we built this team in February expecting it to be a playoff team. Our brain is in the same place now. Our mindset is that this is a playoff team. We're going to add to it. We're not going to break it up.
Okay. A lot of people now, I'm hearing it, are pointing to the Tigers last year. And they're saying, look, the Tigers traded Flaherty. They kept Skubal. They could have gotten a lot for Skubal. They traded. By the way, one of the things that you would have had to do is pick up Baez to get Skubal, and now look, Baez is an all-star. Yeah, so you would have gotten two. You would have Skubal and Baez.
No one saw that coming. Baez being an all-star.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's interesting, John. I'm not saying I predicted it. All right, so but people, and then they'll go, look. They made like some moves and then, to sell, but they didn't get rid of any of their core, and they went on and they won a playoff series. I am hearing that. Do you think the Red Sox would try to pull anything like that? Like they add someone, but then they get rid of someone. They kind of like play the middle and go, well, look, we're still in the hunt.
Yeah, I do, and I'm usually dead set against it, but this is kind of a unique situation because you've got the young guys who need to find places to play, and you got to get Anthony in the lineup every day. They're doing it right now, but it's going to get that much tougher when Yoshida comes back this week because now you got another guy in the DH mix. So you probably still got to move an outfielder if you can, and Jarren Duran is probably the guy. As much as he's meant to this team, and I've kind of gone back and forth on whether or not he should be the guy. But now that Rafael is hitting, and he's hitting really well, you got to keep him because he's so good defensively. Willie Abreu got a Gold Glove last year, and he's their home run leader right now. He's hitting for power. So if you're going to move one, the power rankings probably say Duran is most likely. So I think it is one of those rare cases where you could conceivably subtract by trading an outfielder off the major league roster, meantime making other moves, pitching, maybe a first baseman that help you get better now.
I think it would be criminal not to trade Duran. I think you absolutely have to trade Durant. He might be the biggest trade target of the deadline.
The surest sign is dropping him out of that leadoff spot is what the Red Sox think about him.
And even
he's not a kid,
even
by the
after
way.
he started hitting, right? He had a little 3-4 game hitting streak going into that game was that Saturday, and he was still batting seventh against the lefty.
Yeah.
Right. So that tells you that they're seeing things. One got by him again yesterday. He's had a little trouble on balls in front of him when he's coming in. That seems to be a little problem, but he's still good defensively. He still hits. He had 10 triples. I mean, there's a ton of value in Jarren Duran. And if you think Roman Anthony is your left fielder of the future, you've got to do it. You've got to look for a way to get him out there every day.
The other part of the problem is not only with the players, but with ownership, the trust from fans just isn't there. I mean, you see them playing well now, but, I mean, I think they've won 6 in a row and lost 6 in a row in separate streaks in 1 month. I mean, this is what they've been doing all year long. And fans, I don't want to say have been lied to, but have been, I don't know, led down the wrong path in each of the last 5 years as to what this ownership's intentions truly are. So I don't know if there's any trust that either the players can get it done or ownership or, the GM will follow through on promises.
Well, because the interesting thing is I feel that a lot of fans jumped back in the spring, right? They did win that trust back with the Bregman signing because it was big money. The Crochet deal was not a money thing. That was just a good trade. But when they got Bregman and Henry posted the picture with the cigar, it started to feel like fans were, okay, the rebuilding is over. This is a team that's going to be a playoff team. A lot of people picked them to win the division. It's what has made this first half so frustrating is that you did kind of buy back in and they're the same team as they were last year. Except now, if you get Bregman back and you make the right deal or two, there's no reason that this team shouldn't be a hell of a lot better in the second half than it has been so far.
What do you think Bregman's situation is in terms of his contract this offseason? Like, what do you think is going to happen with that?
Well, if I'm the Red Sox, I'm trying to get something done before the end of the season.
Because that's what they have to do, right? Because if they,
I think so.
You would think by the
That's
deadline they'd want to do
move.
it. Yeah.
I know you don't sign a player for public relations, but the move after freeing up the Devers money is to lock up Bregman. He's Dustin Pedroia 2.0. He's the heart and soul of that clubhouse. He's the leadership you need. He loves it here. He loves playing here. His family likes it here. Lock this guy up, build it around him. That's the smartest move.
Yeah, because if you can't re-sign him, then you got to trade him, and if you do that, then you're really out. Then it's almost like you've reversed course halfway through a season
again,
but you've are devoid of talent that's not 17 years old.
Don't forget the other part of it. Scott Boras came out and said Bregman would like to do a deal. I mean, I can't remember Scott Boras doing that during a season. I mean, this is
that's not his DNA. He likes to take everybody to market. He thinks that's the smart way to do it. He talks guys out of hometown discounts. I think Jason Varitek way back in the day is the only one I can remember where a Boris guy signed for less because he liked it here. So yeah, you're right. I mean, when they send that message out and you hear Bregman talk about this city and talk about this team, it just makes all the sense in the world to get it done. Because if you go the other way, if you trade Alex Bregman in the next few weeks, you talk about losing the faith of this fan base, it's gone after that.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that. But I do think you can trade Duran, and if the fans are intelligent, they'll see the wisdom in that. And that you're not at all punting on the season if you do that. You're just getting rid of an asset that you don't need right now that's worth a lot at maybe its highest value.
It's a duplication of assets. But it's also got to be part of what else you do, right? Like if that's the only move you make, you're subtracting, you're not adding. Because I don't think you're going to get, if you trade him, it's not like you're going to get the finishing piece to a team you need now. So that's got to be part of an overall thing where you're getting pitching, you're getting help for this team. Maybe you're moving a prospect as well. You got all kinds of left-handed hitting outfielders in the minors. You only need so many of those. So trade some of those, and if you bring in a stud, go get Alcantara, go get somebody who's really going to be the finishing piece of a rotation, and then nobody's going to care if you trade Durant.
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, Tom Caron, look, Bregman knows someone. he made the All-Star game, even though he hasn't
That's
played.
the players vote. He's a popular guy. You know, he's got a salsa company. You know, everyone's going to get free salsa at the All-Star game.
I didn't know about the salsa. Okay.
Yeah,
It's good.
Yeah, well,
Good salsa.
it seems like a difficult and expensive business to get in. Is putting your name.
Well, again, but if you're in the Illuminati, as you pointed out earlier, you know, there's a lot of people with disposable income ready to eat snacks.
Well, there is a. Have you ever been roped into one of them hot sauce stores? There used to be one at the Natick Mall. They had a guy out. They had a guy outside.
I'm a sucker for a hot sauce store.
still
There's
there.
no doubt. I'll come back with habanero. I'll come back with all kinds of stuff.
All the stuff that sits there and goes to waste.
It tastes a little similar, but they have like a barker in front of it, and he'll like pull you in,
He's
like
still
physically
there.
pull you in.
It's all there.
The little paper cup out front.
Oh.
You gotta try some of this.
Yeah, try some of this, and you're like, wow, that tastes like hot sauce. Okay, here we are.
There's one down in Newport. You'll find yourself in conversations about hot sauce.
I took a bite of a habanero at that place to the amazement of my children. I did it to impress my children. I have such little self-esteem. I had to do a brave act to impress my very own children. All right.
The things we do. I did the same thing at the Hard Rock Cafe in Orlando once. All right, I bit the habanero. The crowd went wild, and you know we lived to tell the tale.
I just
So there
did
you
it.
go.
I just did it for my two kids, and my father never bit into a habanero to impress me. But I guess
See, the
that
things
does
we do
tell.
for our kids today that our parents didn't do for us.
Well,
Well,
I mean,
the things
bathe
that,
them.
the things that you do when you're at the Hard Rock in Orlando. I mean, things are off the
Talk
chain.
about
in
the
that place.
Illuminati. I mean, if you're in the Illuminati, the Hard Rock or Orlando is where you want to go.
That all spills to Howl at the Moon after. You're in Church Street Station at that point, so take your shoes are off. All right, thank you, Tom.
All right, always a pleasure.
All right, appreciate it. There you go, Tom Karen. If someone could get him sponsored, we could have him on weekly during the season, and that would be a delight. He doesn't have to come on, take his time for free. Other people get paid, so we need a sponsor. And that's the way things are now. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub.
We're Toucher and Hardy. I was in Alabama, but I came back on Thursday. So my son was off on the 4th of July with his friends, and so my daughter and I went with friends of ours who have kids to the Newton fireworks. And you find out all kinds of things. I'm not that plugged in. First of all, you see all the parents that went away after your kid's 5th grade or 5-year-old season of soccer was over. I don't know if it's like this. It's not like this, it seems, with you, in Canton, Hardy, because you're a man of the people. But there was this phenomenon that there would be this odd mishmash of parents that would be around like when your kids were 5 or 6 at soccer games, and then you would never to be seen again except for at graduations. They're library people. They are municipal people. They not necessarily not wealthy. They just they exist in a different field. A lot of library municipal events. They like a lot of bad T-shirts and things of that nature. A lot of sandals. A lot of stuff going on.
You're talking about
leather sandals.
Community activity people that the last time you participated in a community activity is when your kids were very young.
Well, they're usually out on sports. Like they're the kind of parents whose kids wear sweaters to basketball practice, like slacks and sweaters. There was a phenomenon of that, as if the people didn't know how to dress their child for a gym activity. Is that you would know you dress them for church. And you've slapped some sneakers on him and just go out there and play a game of basketball. My son would play basketball with 2 kids with collared shirts and sweaters on in a YMCA basketball game. That was in Brighton. And you're just like, that's mean. Like, that's pretty mean.
Yeah.
Unless they have some sensory thing where they can't take this stuff off. I mean, that's a very conservative outfit for anybody.
Yeah, you're actually doing your child a disservice by dressing them too well. Get them the cheapest T-shirt you can find and just some shorts to play basketball in from TJ Maxx.
Well, it looks like they own a Vermont bed and breakfast. They're very Newharty, the way that they're dressed. I try to think of someone who wore a shirt and sweater, and I could think of none other than Bob Newhart, more of a cardigan guy. Anywho. When you're at one of these events, first of all, they put on quite a show. I mean, they long,
the Irish Cultural Center fireworks, they always go off like a few days before the 4th of July. Towns stagger when they have them. Like the Stoughton fireworks are on a different night, and the ones in Randolph are a different night. So the ones in Canton have become the ones that the Irish Cultural Center does.
Mm-hmm.
And I've blown away year after year, and this year may have been the best one ever. Like, it goes on for a long time, and it's a real show.
You'd expect nothing else when you're chasing the works. Joe Pera has this thing up where he says there's 3 stages of fireworks. There's wow.
Love it.
Then there's thinking about love's past, and then there is how much of my property tax is being blown up. Which is actually something I thought during it. I went, this is not cheap. Like, and not the fireworks so much as like, the ground required to launch these things.
Do you know something that would have given you massive anxiety because it gave me anxiety?
Sure.
4th of July, we go up to our friends and spend the day in Marblehead, which is a lovely seaside community. Had a great time. Of course, Katie has something she wants to be back home for, by 5 p.m. I just tell her, like, we're not going to be home at 5 p.m. We're not even getting up there until late morning. I'm not making the drive to Marblehead and back so you can go do whatever. But then Calvin starts getting a little worried because he said, hey, my friend just invited me to go to the fireworks tonight. When are we going to be home? I said, fireworks where? He said, downtown. I said, are you out of your mind? What are you talking about? What friend?
Oh, like Boston?
Boston.
Oh.
And so whatever. Things wrap up naturally. We get home about 7:15, and I'm thinking this thing is not going to happen. He said, okay, they're going to be here to pick me up at 7:30. And I'm immediately throwing up my hands. I'm like, I don't know what you're doing. You want to go to the fireworks downtown, you have to leave at noon. No, I've never been. I wouldn't even have been. There's a million people going downtown. What are you thinking? What are your friends' parents thinking? How is any of this going to work? Apparently, one of the parents has a parking spot at Faneuil Hall in Quincy Market They left the house at 7:30, drove down, parked in their spot, walked over to the fireworks, had a grand old time. He was home at 11:15.
Wow.
I said, well, shows what I know. I thought that was like the dumbest non-plan of all time, and the kid managed to pull it off.
It took me 45 minutes to get back from Newtonville to Newton Center, so they're doing something right. But I'm not that involved in municipal affairs because I have this pulpit. I don't want to. There are fairness problems and
Equal
things
time.
like that. Equal time, yeah. Like I can't be just out here spouting off about the Mayor Ruth Ann Fuller or whatever her name is. I didn't even know the mayor's name. But are you aware of Nonantum?
Sure.
Have you been down there?
Yeah,
I have.
It's like the edgier part of Newton. You know, like it's a little street, if you understand what I'm saying. And they used to have Italian flags on the road on the account of all the Italians down there. And in the dead of night, apparently, this is a news story. In the dead of night, whatever the service is comes in and they paint over the Italian flags like sneaks, and then they put road signs. Ooh. And now everyone's gone crazy. And one of the people that's gone crazy is Italy's own Mike Behind the Mic Callahan.
Yes.
Italy's own?
Italy's own.
Wow.
Callahan, of course, is synonymous with Italy and all things Italian.
You had mentioned this earlier, and it sparked that I was scrolling Facebook last week, and I saw Mike Behind the Mic Callahan. He was very upset about something. He had started a petition, and then I clicked together. He says, I've created an online petition to get the Italian flag paint restored to Adams Street in Newton's village of Nonantum, a.k.a. the lake. Please sign and share. And someone in the comments said, is this your fundraiser, or is this like from some group or the town? He said, no, it's mine. I grew up down the lake. Apparently that's what you call it if you grew up in Nonantum. You say you grew up down the lake. And my radio station, Oldies 103 FM Boston, is the official soundtrack to the festival. So we stand with both Nonantum and the society.
Which is brave.
It
is
is.
a brave stance to have because, in the face of all this adversity. What is this station?
This is fascinating to me. So
what is this? Just say the station again. 'Cause I have to
Oldies
Google it.
103 Boston, which was a heritage oldies radio station on the FM dial in Boston for the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. And then when it went off the air, Mike Behind the Mic Callahan was so upset, and he created an online version of it, but he somehow is able to use imaging from the original radio station, and he plays all these songs and he hosts it as you would host it live. Which again, I don't know if he has some sort of deal struck. Maybe when CBS Radio,
Well, obviously
the
he's
rights
an
to that.
attorney. I mean, he obviously he dotted the I's and crossed the T's when it came to copyright law, Adam. And I'm sure Oldies 103.3 is diligent in scouring the internet for people using their
fully aware.
Yeah, I mean they'd have a big problem with it. The people that used to work there would have a huge problem with it. Well, Mike Behind the Mic, I don't need to have him on the air anymore, but he can enjoy that website. I wish him the best.
2,000 signatures on this petition so far.
Well, listen, according to CBS News, it says everyone's pissed off. It's terrible. It's upsetting, said Paul Lupo. And what's going on? Asked neighbor Margie McGraw.
But what did Bob O'Shaughnessy have to say about it?
Well, I don't know, but the Callahan is the pulpit for the Irish voice in this issue.
Italian.
No, Callahan is Irish,
Yes.
so he's the Irish voice. He's speaking for the Irish community. Everyone. It doesn't matter where you're from. Everyone wants those flags painted on the road.
Sure.
Anyway, this is the kind of nonsense that you hear when you go to a community.
The Honorable Mayor Fuller says state and federal law say it's got to be yellow center lines on Adams Street for safety reasons.
All of a sudden,
Yeah, this is weird.
with no warning in the dead of night.
Says she's been communicating with the group for months. This was no surprise.
What group? Not me.
Well, yeah.
Not John Q. Citizen. That's for sure. I mean, I didn't know about it, and I pick up all the leaflets. I know all about AIDS and infections and everything else. I pick them all up. Every brochure, I got them all. Believe me, when I drop my daughter off at the tutor at that Newton Library, I know what I go in and I really scour the boards. You got a number for guitar lessons? I got it in my wallet.
Newton Free Library. Love it.
You got a lost cat? I'm on the lookout.
The other day, Adam sends me a picture. He's literally at the Newton Free Library meeting someone. He's not joking around either.
For real, yeah.
Yeah, he lives in like Woburn or something. He went down to the Newton Library to meet someone.
Why?
Yeah. Because that's where people like him meet.
That's right.
Like minds.
I got my name on that corkboard too, and called me up.
Did you see the people in there reading the newspaper?
Yep.
Yeah. That's sad.
Save a couple bucks.
And by the way, I know an attorney or know of an attorney that goes there to read the legal paper. There's some Boston legal paper, and he goes to the Newton Library because they have it.
Okay.
Instead of getting it delivered to his home. So every day apparently he goes to the Newton Library.
How's his practice doing?
I don't know anything about him. I knew a girl that knew him.
Okay.
But it was enough of a story that she told me, so it was interesting. And I remembered it was enough of that. All right, when we come back, a seminal band and one of the most iconic artists, I'd argue, of all time, said farewell.
You're listening to Touch.
Red Sox have followed up 6 straight losses with 6 wins in their last 8 games. Yesterday, they completed a 3-game sweep of the Washington Nationals 6-4. Garrett Crochet went 5 innings for the win, and Trevor Story and Ceddanne Rafaela added homers to power the offense. Sox are 1 game over 500. They're back home to play last place Colorado tonight. In other team news, they had 3 players elected to the American League All-Star team yesterday. Garrett Crochet made it along with Aroldis Chapman, who through a translator is happy to be back in the Midsummer Classic after missing a few seasons.
Happy, and also proud to be back after a few years. Also proud of the work that I've done to get here, and obviously it makes me very happy to be able to make it back to the All-Star game.
Also, despite missing the last 6 weeks, Alex Bregman has made the AL team as a reserve. Getting back to the Nationals following yesterday's loss to the Red Sox, they fired both manager Dave Martinez and GM Mike Rizzo. The Nationals have the #1 overall pick in the MLB draft later this week. And the NBA announced a record 17 trade yesterday. 6 players, 1 first-round draft pick, and 12 second-rounders were moved in this deal, and that includes Kevin Durant heading from Phoenix to Houston. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Blue Sky Restoration Contractors. If you experience a large-scale property loss, Blue Sky is the only company you need. They'll coordinate the work of all parties involved. Visit goblusky.com, restoring your property and your life for a brighter tomorrow. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
Listen to it, laugh at it, get mad at it, agree with it, argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Fred, what's it like to work with Hardy and Wallach?
What a golden ticket I've gotten.
There you have it. Toucher and Hardy resumes on the...
Jakey Lee, of course. Mike Borden was in Faith No More. Dave Effelson, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he was the bassist in Megadeth. Adam Wakeman, anyone?
Nope.
Anyone?
Nope.
Scott Ian, Frank Bello, and they're obviously in Anthrax. Jack Black then comes on. Alice in Chains plays. All right, so let's start with that. Alice in Chains plays, and Adam, what is going on here?
So they start their cover. So each band played like as you ran it down. They played like a 3-song set, like a couple of originals, and then a Sabbath or an Ozzy cover. And theirs was Fairies Wear Boots. And this was kind of you were talking about some of the things did not go off without a hitch. This was a case of that, where the band started Fairies Wear Boots and had to restart the song because Jerry Cantrell on the guitar and the drummer could not get in sync. Listening to that, Fred and everybody, that's so Cantrell just stop, and then like the drummer looks so confused, and William Duvall, the lead singer of Alice in Chains, is literally conducting him like here and beat and 2 and 3. Like
he was like wasted or something.
No, I think as we'll get to in this other clip, I think there were a lot of technical issues. I mean, this is an insane undertaking to have the like 15-minute, 20-minute sets and so many changeovers. Like you can't go through that without having some sort of audio difficulty.
And Ozzy obviously had to sit during the performances because he's got bad Parkinson's and everything, and so. They knew he wouldn't be able to go long, and he was doing a solo set and a set with Black Sabbath, so they obviously had to fill it up. Then Gojira comes on, which is some metal band. Then Billy Corgan, Sammy Hagar, Steven Tyler, everyone associates him with Black Sabbath, Tom Morello, Nuno Betancourt again, man by name Rudy Sarzo, who is a favorite of Eddie Trunk, of Quiet Riot, and Ozzy, and Whitesnake. Travis Barker has to be at everything. Chad Smith, the dude from Tool. KK Downing, who's whom? Anybody? Anybody?
Yes.
wrote Harry Potter.
Judas Priest.
Yeah, he's a good rhythm player for Judas Priest. Thank you.
Say Harry Potter. Idiot.
Vernon Reed, Ron Wood, Andrew Watt is some producer. All right, so here is...
Did you say Dave Grohl?
No.
How's Dave Grohl not there?
Of all those people, Dave Grohl is not there?
Any documentary, anything having to do with music or popular culture, Dave Grohl is A, a fan, and B, front and center in the documentary about said thing.
He's in Filmage, the Descendants documentary.
Of course he is.
I mean, he's interviewed in Filmage about the influences on the Descendants and on him. So anyway, Adam was talking about the sound problems. Here's Sammy Hagar. Chad Smith is on drums, and they can't mic the drums. Listen to the difference of this. They're doing an Ozzy song. Listen to
Flying
this.
High again, yeah.
Dr. Smith.
Why did you even have to say? Everyone would know. Such a DJ. Let me figure out the song.
Dr. Smith.
Dr. Smith. Hello. This guy, he's like 89 years old. He drinks every day, and somehow he's like in tremendous shape, Sammy Hagar. It's absolutely fascinating. First of all, he's like richer than you could ever imagine. Him and his agent went in this tequila business, Haji Machi. And he invented the mountain bike, according to him, and had a very successful travel agency, if you read his book. John read his book.
Yep.
Numerology, very big in his life.
Dr. Smith.
So there's no drums here. It sounds like garbage. It doesn't sound like Rudy Sarzo's playing the right song either.
No. This sounds like you...
And Sarzo was in the band, I think, when Flying High Again was a song.
You remember like early YouTube when people would take old music videos and they'd do what was called like the Creed one is the most famous one. It's called the Shred.
Mother, yeah.
And they would just play bad music over the music video, the live video. That's what this sounds like. It just sounds like that.
And then so someone put something up and they're like, does this mean drums are the most important instrument? And it's actually pretty curious. I'm just going to let it play. You'll hear when the drums come in. Listen to the difference. It's not as obvious as it sounds.
Dr. Smith.
You know what makes it sound even worse is you could hear the drums before the delay.
Right.
So, you know, when you're at a huge show like that, you're getting everything like a half a second later. But if you're close to the stage, you'll hear the actual instrument, you'll hear the drums, and then you'll hear the drums again once they purposely delay them for like further back.
Right.
So that everything like, you know, syncs up properly or the other way around, whatever it is. But it makes it sound even worse at the beginning because you can kind of hear the drums playing at a different tempo.
Well, have you ever like spoken at an event where you had to say a lot of stuff and there was an echo coming back at you? It's impossible even to speak.
Yeah.
I can only imagine playing drums. Then Pantera plays 4 songs. Tool plays 3 songs. That was actually an hour and a half set. Slayer then comes on. They get to do 7. Guns N' Roses does 6. Metallica does 6. Then Ozzy comes on. You know, I think he had Jakey Lee and he had a bunch of the original guys, Rudy Sarzo and all those guys, which is pretty cool. He did 5 songs, and then Black Sabbath played and walked into the mist. Here's a little bit of them doing Paranoid. Bill Ward, people didn't know if he would come back on drums. He was there. He didn't have a shirt on.
No shirt on.
He should have had a shirt on. He looked like all of us, but there he was with his shirt off, and here's what it sounded like. So whatever. Look, it's impressive that they got him out there and that he got through it. There was a lot of people that didn't. Jakey Lee didn't think he'd be able to do it, and Eddie Trunk didn't think he'd be able to do it. And if you have Eddie Trunk up against you, I mean, you're fighting City Hall at that point.
Dio, Sabbath, Rainbow.
Yeah, take your pick. Dealer's choice. Good luck, stupid. Good luck. You pick one, you don't get the other 2. You idiot. What are you gonna do? You're gonna go without Rainbow for the rest of your life? You're gonna go without Dio Heaven and Hell Sabbath lineup? Have fun.
Anyway,
You might as well kill yourself now. You got to pick one of those 3 bands and get the other 2 out of here. Not so easy, is it? 2 hours of radio I've given you.
With no music.
Yeah. You just say what band you like, and I say, okay. And then we move on.
what did you expect?
So when that was going on, I was in Hoover, Alabama. I have one last tale because I just talked to Bob Brunson about it.
Oh, by the way, Dave Grohl was not there, but he was at a Fontaine's D.C. show instead. He was in the UK.
He almost maybe him and Sharon don't get along.
Maybe.
I'm not kidding. There's probably a little bit of animosity between him and Sharon Osbourne. That's usually what the deal is.
There was some speculation Sharon Osbourne tweeted out or said before the show there was one band that got disinvited from the show, like a major band, and it was speculated that they wanted to get paid because no one else was, getting paid for it.
I highly doubt that.
But who was it? Was it Iron Maiden? Was it Motley Crue?
Iron Maiden would want to get paid, but they didn't have Priest, so they probably didn't have Maiden.
I don't think Dave Grohl would care about getting paid.
Yeah, neither do I.
No, there's beef. I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, there's Sharon Osbourne and Dave Grohl beef. There has to be.
Yeah, there is.
Because every rock band basically played. And what's sad is when these bands dies, these bands end up dying, and then our generation of bands ends up dying. There's no more bands.
There's no more rock bands.
There's really not.
Nope.
Like you had the All-American Rejects, who were a terrible band from the 2000s. They played some.
Those Savannah Bananas.
They were on TV.
Yeah.
The All-American Rejects are still a band. Like they were a novelty act. They're like on TikTok. They're in like videos my daughter's watching. Are they handsome or something? Anyway, so I'm in Hoover, Alabama, and do you a third rail with people? Like, Adam's got a million of them because he's all, he's got a million third rails. You gotta figure out how to talk around.
It's a
him.
minefield just having a conversation with that guy.
You got to have all your everything's got to be on point with him.
John used the term selectman earlier. I almost called him out on that.
Yeah, you can't do that with Adam. Adam's there to clean up any messes.
Like person, John.
Adam's our Robin Quivers in case we get in trouble. We can just point to Adam.
Wow.
Adam's on the show.
So sorry.
Well, she didn't make money right away.
That's true.
And Gary didn't make money until very late into it. So you hold your horses. So the thing is that people will find out that my father was in advertising in Manhattan in the 60s when he was a young man. They'll find this out. And invariably, what do you think they ask?
If they were in advertising, I don't know.
Manhattan in the 60s. Was it
Mad Men.
Was it like Mad Men? I tried on 2 occasions because I figured, Dad, you were in your 20s in advertising on Madison Avenue, right where this is set. Like, what if there was a show about Boston radio in the 2000s? Like, you would be, oh, wow, I got to see it, right? And my dad didn't want to watch it. He was like, no, I don't know what happened to him, if he was molested or something. But, he didn't want to see it. So twice I've tried to get him to watch it, and he just walked out. Like, furious. It wasn't like that.
Weird.
So he was at the thing, and I was told this secondhand by the person. Someone said to him, they're talking, and he's like, yeah, I lived in Manhattan, I was in advertising, and they're like, oh, was it like Mad Men? And my father did not like that. My father, that is he hates it. I guess he got a little chippy.
Upset him so much.
Honestly, dude, I don't know. And good luck getting an answer out of him because it ain't coming. It really not a lot. I see get him he's just annoyed by everything, and especially at me. But this Mad Men, he hates it. He hates it. Hates it.
Is your dad like a buttoned-up guy? Does he ever tell a dirty joke? Is there any?
He doesn't. I don't think I've ever heard him tell a joke. But let alone a dirty one, and I'm not kidding. But he's not so buttoned up but it's funny because he'll be like, it wasn't like that. People didn't have bars in their office, and then he'll tell a story about his old boss who you'd have to find before 2:00 because if you asked him everything 2:00, he was a mean drunk, and he would go out and get drunk at lunch, and so you're like, well, which is it? I know for a fact that was when he was at Donor, that was like a big steakhouse culture. Like that was when everyone had money. And they were going to Morton's for lunch every day. My dad weighed 500 pounds of gout. He was drinking martinis at lunch and eating steaks every day. But you'll go, was it like Mad Men? And he'll be like, no. And they'll go, like, well, where did you have lunch? Morton's every day. And you'll be like, well, what the hell was it? You had oyster eating contest too, but it wasn't like Mad Men, I don't know. He gets all flustered. He doesn't like it. It's pretty funny. He likes to. I think it might be, if I had to guess, knowing my dad as little as I do, I would guess it. Like he thinks it cheapens, cheapens the business, like it turns it into a circus,
right?
And it was business. We got business done, and this is a circus. There was no redheads with big jugs. Every woman had very small breasts back then in Madison Avenue. It was almost a requirement. If you had over a B cup, you could not get hired.
Ooh, how about that?
Yeah, it's
I
weird.
know where I'm going in my time machine.
Yeah, I mean, Hardy would have been in hog heaven, but not literally. All right, very good. We'll be back in just a moment.
What did you expect?
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy.
know, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. If you would like to email us, look no further than 985thesportshub.com. It's got all our email addresses. And if you would like to follow us on Twitter or Instagram, you can go to @Toucher and Hardy, @Hardy985, and myself, @FredToucher, where I put up how my diamond medallion status on Delta. While John's getting bumped off flights to Philadelphia and having to take the train. Do you know this schmuck? They put him on a 3 o'clock flight the next day, and he still took the train at 7 in the morning because he looked at the weather. Could have just stayed home. Anyway, I don't know why you felt the need to get out there so quickly.
It only took me 5 hours and 25 minutes.
So John's out there schlepping around on trains, and that's specifically why I put it up, so I look like a hotshot. I'm not being sarcastic. I got one thing in my life going for me. I'm sharing it. It's one thing that makes me attractive to people. I'm sharing it. It's up there. I'm diamond medallion status. They bumped me and my kid up to first class. My kid's status, nothing. His status, lucky. I'm putting in the hours. All right, so you can follow us on social media. That would be nice, because that's where it's all going. Gary, not Tankway. He wants us to riff.
Oh, what does he got?
I don't know if I got a long one in me, because we did a long one before vacation. Says, Hardy, let's take our LPGA murder mystery to the next level and shoot a pilot for 2 jugs, 1 cup, and the exploding golf ball. Working title.
What's the working title again?
It's called working title. All right. Elevator pitch. Let's go. 2 jugs, 1 cup, the exploding golf ball. Follow me. Okay, sorry. He goes, you'll get a segment or 2 out of this. All right, here's the deal, Hardy. All right, you got the working title. All right. Busty broad gets up there. Who cares? Throw any broad in it. If you got to, pad it up. Caboose, large 2. So here we go. Big golf tournament. Hello, ladies. For some reason, people are there. And lady takes a swing. She's a hot shot, but she's hot, right? But not to be outdone. Well, you'll hear. So she hits a ball, kablowy, fingers and hands and heads and eyes. They're all exploded over the place. Everyone's covered in guts. Out of this wreckage comes even a broad with bigger cans, and she's a cop. And she says, this was my day off. I was just here to enjoy the dang tournament, and now I got eyeball juice on me. And she goes and solves the crime, has sex with a bunch of guys.
She was a cop.
But she was a cop. A cop's cop.
Yeah. Elevator pitched it for you.
I like it.
Gruesome explosion, though. And then it's like, you know what it is? It's a dichotomy. It's guts, gross, big jugged, fat-assed woman. Cool.
Mrs. Lloyd.
You play around with the meaning. You know, I'm not here to explain my art to you. I'm like David Lynch. I'm like Russ Meyer meets David Lynch. It's a real gruesome, spooky, busty affair. Says, ask Fred if he's seen Saugus' own Tyler Faith, if she can swing the sticks. I have not talked to Tyler Faith in a while. I'm not opposed to talking to
It's an idea.
Tyler Faith. She's very busty.
You know what? Not only could she play around the golf, she could be a guest on the golf club.
Now you just sparked his interest.
Yes.
Well, that would say, it was the whole point of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have Tyler Faith on.
Yes. That's what we were talking about.
Okay.
She's follows the show, I believe, on Instagram. You can DM her. When Nicholas comes back.
My boy Hardy, it's Riz, fam. I've had this for a few weeks, been meaning to send you. Today you mentioned how your dog hears a trash truck. It's like the ice cream truck. These labs hear my truck and come running for treats, and it always reminds me of you. He included a video of him driving his truck, and the labs coming and going absolutely bananas when he pulls up in front of the house. And that's what it is. It's the dogs know certain drivers that have treats, and they lose their minds.
There was no doubt that the dog gets excited when the truck comes up. The question was how you are involved in it. Dogs get excited every time someone comes to the door. I don't know everyone who comes to the door's name. Now, I know Tony, my mailman, because you put me on the spot like 6 months ago and said, what's your mailman's name? And then the next time I saw him, he was like, I think he was legitimately a little upset. So he's Tony.
Yeah.
Is my mailman. But him I see because he walks. They don't have the cars here. They don't have the mail cars. You don't have your post box on the, at least in Newton, you're not allowed to have it on the street because that's an eyesore. You understand?
Okay.
So he's walking around. So like if you walk your dog, he's a physical human being walking by you. He's not in a big truck. The question wasn't the dogs. See, everyone gets lost in the details. The question is how Hardy gets out to the mail. The garbage man's there for under a minute if you don't talk to him. So the question is, because people have often said, I tip the garbage man. I'm like, how the hell do you tip the garbage man? They don't even get out of the garbage truck. At least in Newton, they just got a claw. They don't get out.
Natick too.
And one time I said something about them, so I think they deliberately put a can upside down to show me, and it was almost impossible to get right side up again. It was really showed me, taught me a lesson. And I'm like, I got it for an hour. I got to turn this. I got to find a way to get this thing the other way.
Push this back to the garage with no wheels.
I mean, this thing weighs 10 pounds. How am I going to do this?
Levers and a pulley system, a block and tackle. What the hell do I do now?
I'm stymied here. I don't know what I'm going to do. But and people like tip the garbage. How the hell am I going to tip the garbage man? It's literally a machine.
You put it on top of the barrel. Gift in a little gift bag, and they'll get out of the truck and grab it.
I assure you that they would just grab that unless it was very plainly said, "Hello, garbage man. Here's a gift
that's
for
a
you."
volume
You make a
industry,
little
man.
sign.
No,
I've done that. I've done that. Yeah,
of course
I've taped it to the top of the lid with the big.
Fred's right.
But
That's
they
fine,
probably in your
that's
street.
a volume thing.
But on your street, it's a fight for the garbage. Garbage is like gold. Where you live, you tape something on the garbage. You tape garbage to the garbage. I mean, you won't find a can in sight.
Better question, Adam. What did you make for the gift that you gave to the garbage man? Was it a hat? Did you knit him a hat?
A little winter hat because it's the holidays. Yeah, a little hat.
Yeah, whatever they had laying around the church, you put it together. All right, there you go. So there you have it.
Dave said, I thought Adam did a great job when you were away, so go home, get out your little scrapbook, and put a gold star next to his name. He was a steady voice on the mic, kept the structure of the show intact.
In studio for a couple of those days.
Did you hear any of it, Fred?
I didn't hear any of it. I did not hear 1 second of it. But I am to understand Adam was highly involved. Now, did you get in Joe's way?
No, not at all. I was excited. I'm like you, Fred. I'm a huge fan of the Joe Show. I listen at night as well, and
it's freewheeling.
Very much looking forward to it. It is very freewheeling. We were talking about that. I was in studio with he and
you get Joe in July,
Mike and
Matt you got a freewheeling affair because there's nothing to talk about sports.
Yeah,
so you go right to how many times did he talk about food?
Oh, we did it. He pitched this bit and we did it. He had never been to the cafeteria here because he's on at night and the cafeteria closes after lunch. So we did a segment where I think it was on Tuesday morning where Joe went and broadcast live around the cafeteria on Zoom. So
that's kind of funny.
And he was very excited to see what was on the menu and to share what was on the menu. He made fast friends with the gentleman making the food, and he bought everybody on the show breakfast sandwiches.
Hey,
you won't hold that over your head.
No. So
remember
it was
that
nice.
time I bought you the sandwiches? I'm in a bit of a pickle.
But no, we had some good shows. He is freewheeling, but we focused things as well.
That was the one thing that I heard, and I didn't hear enough to give you an actual proper compliment or criticism either way, Adam. Otherwise, I would have reached out. But I heard a snippet of one show, and Skaz or somebody was going on about the breakfast sandwiches. Who was in producing?
Ryan was producing.
Maybe it was Ryan.
Yeah,
I don't know how many of you reached out to Adam and said you heard he did a good job. Oh, that's right. Me. Danny, go ahead.
Hey, Fred, what's going on? I call the show a lot. I'm a garbage man out in Boston overnight, and it's the right thing to do. Hardy's right about giving the trash man a tip.
How?
It's like the mailman. It's like the
How, though?
mailman.
The mailman comes and picks up the mail from the mailbox. The trash guy. Do you guys use your hands? Like, do you pick up the bin?
I do commercial dumpsters over in Boston, but I used to do the street trash, too. You just put it on the bin.
But they don't get out of the truck. Yeah, I understand, but they don't get out of the truck.
Yeah, but they're going to see that, though. If you put it right there, they're going to just put down garbage men. And they're going to see that envelope, and they're going to jump on and grab it.
You're looking out the window at the lids?
Yeah, they're not. They don't. But they're not horses. They don't have blinders on.
It's Christmas time.
So
what if there's sno? What if one of my neighbors
and you
comes
do it
and
the
picks it
next
up?
week?
Hey, I know Joe there, Hardy's friend there. I know all about him. He's a nice guy. Those guys out in Canton make about $5,000 a piece over on Christmas time each. And they get about $5,000.
So you expect to be tipped, basically, if you're a garbage man.
I don't really expect it, but if you're going to give the mail lady or the mailman a tip,
but I know Tony.
We're doing a service too.
Tony's got. I listen. I'm not degrading the profession. There's no garbage man, there's a garbage strike. That's what got Rob Ford elected in Toronto. It can literally, if there's no waste management, it can turn a city upside down like within a week. I'm not doubting the importance of it. Believe me, Danny. But I am saying the only thing I'm saying is it's hard to tip them.
Okay, what day does your trash get picked up, Fred?
Oh boy, now everyone's going to know where I live. It's so hard to find. Wednesdays.
All right, so maybe on Wednesday I go over to the house with you. Do you know what time it gets picked up?
Yeah, it gets up during the show. They're pretty early.
All right, so we'll have to take Wednesday off, and we'll just hang out at your house, and I'll be there because you can be a little awkward in these situations. But you and I will mosey out to the curb when the guy comes by, and we'll all just stand out there and have a little visit.
I don't even know what the guy...
Hardy's a man's man. Hardy's a man's man.
Thank you.
Hardy's a man's man.
Yeah, there's no question about it.
I got a good comp for Hardy. Married with children. The neighbor there, that's the same guy as Hardy. You guys know that, right? What's his name? I forgot the guy's name on the show, but he reminds you of that guy.
Oh, no.
Married with children.
The handsome guy next door?
I never watched that show.
The guy that was on Happy Days?
Yeah, Ted.
Ted something.
I'll look it up.
I couldn't.
From Ted McGinley, the guy from the bully from Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah, that's him. Stan Gable.
Stan Gable. Yeah, he was in Alpha Beta.
I don't know if you could get any. I don't understand the connection at all. But Hardy's a Midwestern dad.
Let me tell you something about that Married with Children show. I could not watch it because I couldn't get over the studio audience losing their mind and bursting into this uproarious applause anytime someone came into the scene and came out of the set. And it was like, the rock stars showing up. I'm like, this is... They're so insistent on everything being so funny and being so celebrated. I can't enjoy it. I can't sit there and enjoy the show.
In retrospect, it's obvious that the showrunners loved porn and that they wanted to bang porn stars because the amount of, now that I look back at it, the amount of 80s and 90s porn stars to make speaking appearances, like SAG appearances on that show is staggering. The amount of, porn stars that they gave... Penthouse, Playboy. I bet you there's a list on the internet, and I bet you that it's around 100. And you know that these guys went to the talent agencies and booked them and then chatted them up and then tried to sleep with them. And I would imagine they would big showrunners. They'd be successful. The guys who invented Married with Children, though, not attractive. I'll let you know that right now.
Oh,
yeah.
But you know
they look like porn guys.
You know what I'm talking about? So I just looked up
Anthrax episode.
Kelly would come on and say something slutty, and everybody yeah. It was it wasn't funny. It was all puns and double entendre, and then Bud would do something, or he would just walk into the scene. Everybody yeah.
Yeah, unless it was a fat joke from at the shoe store, it was not necessarily going to hit.
Right.
But if you look at a montage of Al's fat jokes at the shoe store, I mean, you'll come away satisfied.
Okay, all right, I'll give that a shot. But
no,
and I accept it with Seinfeld. It's in later years, like seasons 5, 6, when Kramer would make his first appearance in an episode, there'd be some applause. I'm like, okay, everybody calm down though.
Plus, he's doing a big pratfall or something.
Yeah, he was doing a big entrance.
First of all, Married with Children was like a Sam Kinison video. That was the era of the era. It was an era of porn, and even in the news, Jessica Hahn and stuff, everything was. And Jessica Hahn went and got a boob job. Everyone loved her. It was the era of high hair, Howard Stern. Very legitimate porn. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Mason's en route now. He's a trash man. I'd take you, Mason, but there's no time. I'd take all of you in your service. I don't quite know what I did wrong. All I said is I don't know how to tip the trash man.
And we told you how to do it.
Yep. Just like I have to tip the person at the sandwich shop that just stood there at the cash register. It's a lot of fun. And that comes on, and then I always think that if I'm coming back, they're going to know I was the guy that didn't tip. Because I would remember. That's the kind of thing I'd remember. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headline.
What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack.
It's like flipping out on that Tusi. Oofy woofy. She was on the moon. That's got to suck. You wake up in a jail cell while I'm here. Oh, you killed someone. And you got no recollection of it. Whoops. And that's good. Not good. All right, Hardy, what's going on?
Yeah, well, that was one of the things. She's not only wiped the evidence, but she put a message to her fans saying, "So tired." This was in response to fans speculating online the couple had ended it, with one asking, "Have they broken up already?" Another one wrote, "Damn, they over already? That was quick." So,
yeah, I like when the news articles put what the fans have to say.
yeah, because they're in the know.
I like when an article creates a whole point that is just a collection of maniacs tweeting, and then that's the story. Is that someone said something that maniacs reacted to in a visceral way, and that's the whole story.
It's called journalism, Fred.
It's called collecting the most insane things you can, putting a headline up, and seeing if you can get someone in trouble, and by make yourself a couple pennies. And I mean a couple pennies.
I'm glad you mentioned insane. I cannot read the whole story because it's behind a paywall, but Adam 12 was kind enough to pass along that Mike Gordon from the band Fish has been working on a device he calls the Zen Box, spelled with X's on both ends.
That's fun.
The device, in theory, would detect when an artist is approaching flow state, that otherworldly form of consciousness wherein peak performance takes no effort. There is a photo included in the portion of the story that I can see of the Zen Box, and this can't be real because it looks like the time travel device from Napoleon Dynamite.
No, I don't think it's. I think he's having fun.
I think it's kind of like a little labels and switches.
I don't think that he's being serious.
Oh,
but we all are chasing flow state. I mean, the Lakers and Bulls teams, they were, you get into that flow state. Can you meditate your way into flow state?
I don't know, 12. Did you actually subscribe to this periodical?
Sure. I give money to Rolling Stone so I can read their content.
Well,
that's what I'm known for.
So you put a story up there that none of us can read.
Well, listen, is it at the library?
Actually, no joke. They do give you like one freebie a month, so I figured one of us might get the freebie. And I also figured who actually wants to read this garbage? Let's just make fun of Fish.
Yeah, I think he saw Fish and went for it.
Yeah.
But I think, in fairness to Fish, even though I think they're a terrible band, I think that that's a guy joking around.
The police have finally revealed what were in the 25 brick-like packages that washed up on a beach in Florida. Care to guess what was in the packages, Fred?
Olive oil.
Exactly. No, it was cocaine. Street value $500,000.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that's a effing nightmare. Is that like you're on the beach and like a thing of cocaine washes up? I'm not touching that. I'm not reporting it. I'm walking away.
Smart man.
I'm not wearing that snitch jacket. I'm out of there.
What's cool about it, though, is that, how they put the little labels on it, the little, pictures and stuff. On the covers of these bricks of cocaine, it's Yosemite Sam.
It's like the mud flaps of the trucks that take it across the country.
It makes it fun.
I mean, the way those dealers do it, I mean, everyone knows they can drop it like out of an airplane and sink it, and then you can walk by with you can float by with like a GPS device, and it floats it back to the top. I imagine some product gets lost, but I'll tell you what. I wouldn't keep it. I wouldn't call the cops. I wouldn't do anything. I'm out of there. I'm not touching that thing. That's a good way to die. That's how people die. That's how people get shot. If you stay away from that, you're okay. I can't get in trouble for not doing anything. It's not an assault or something. It's just a brick of cocaine. I ain't touching it.
Too many bad things can fall.
I'm not. Yeah. My hands will not lie on it. I don't want my fingerprints on it. I don't want a video of me touching it. I don't want a rumor of me touching it. No siree. That's a nightmare. I'm leaving the beach. I'm going home for the day. All right, to Scotty Z's here. It's been a long time, Scott Zolak.
It hasn't been that long.
Yeah, it's been a week.
It's been a week?
Yeah.
I listen to shows.
Yeah. It's been 11 days. I mean, or 9 days.
Feels like 20 in this business.
Yeah, that's a lot. All right, Scott will be here with Mark Bertrand.
Yep.
That'll do it for us. Everyone have a great day. Bye.
Talk to you tomorrow.